everyone. Paige, I'm very curious what it sounds like because I can't actually hear the music. Because if I can hear it, there'll just be a giant echo. So I just picked like a playlist that I liked. But that sounds like a party from the way you described it. Hello, Armac. Welcome. Welcome back, Calliope Dragon. And obviously, hello, Paige. We have a Smeagol here in Smeagol mode. Yeah, that's you. You're all Smeagoled up. Yeah. Smeagol equals cuddles. It's pretty great. But yeah. So we are just going to be hanging out because it is Chaturday. So if you are new, welcome to Chaturday, which is a day where we just chill and chat about like the topics that we talked about during the week, or just whatever we wind up talking about, really. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm pretty pumped because I finally have, thanks to producer Brian, a nice little dab break right here. So I am trying dabs for the first time in 4 years, something like that. Before I left California, I sold all of the stuff that I had for that because I wasn't going to take it with me to New York. So yeah, if we are, I'm up for it as long as we can have fun, I think, of tribal and Native American. Hey Drew, lovely to see you. Can't stay, but wanted to wish you a great stream. Oh, thank you so much. Have fun doing whatever you're doing. I hope it goes well. But yeah, so tragic news. After the last stream, well, the day after the last stream, so yesterday, I realized that JR's shoes and Franny's mic had not dried, which means that I got the proportions slightly wrong. Like it needs to be exactly 50-50 for the two components. And so I just was a little off. It happens. So I'm going to be redoing those. And then hopefully also turning, I can't, what's the name of the cat from Captain Marvel? I'm totally blanking on it.
Goose.
Okay, so Goose is going to turn into Sprocket. And then Franny's going to have Mike. I'm pretty pumped with how the dreads turned out. So there's going to be a bandana here covering up the like joints of the dreads, and so they're going to be like really. And so yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. And I'm just going to be altering the outfit and stuff a little bit just to make it more JR. We'll see how it goes. Ooh, it just got really dark on the screen. My hair doesn't look day glow anymore. That's nice. Yeah. So yeah. So how's everyone's weekend going so far? I hope it's going well. I know that's a really exciting way to start a stream. But you're just gonna have to bear with me. It's been a long week. And I am gonna hope that this doesn't trigger the golem. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see, no war against Native Americans, but that is the music I was hearing. Not sure if Native Americans actually had wartime music, but it had that really in movies. Interesting. The playlist is called Fall Nights, so whoever made the playlist...
I've turned off the AC twice. It's not fair.
Whoever made the playlist, I guess, decided that just has the Fall Nights vibe. Hello, Atomic Elbow and Jess. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Welcome to Chaturday. Brian just flipped off the house, or the apartment. So if, like, angry ghosts appear and hijack the stream, we know why. It's because Brian flipped them off.
The ghosts are cool. It's the AC in it I have a problem with.
Ghosts are cool. Maybe it's the drums. Oh, the ghost can probably hear the drums. We just can't. Alright, we did it. We got through getting the epoxy. Hold on. Did I speak too soon? Without triggering the golem. Hooray! We still have a Smeagol! You're so good and cute.
Oh, she just noticed I exist.
And that's suspicious.
Extremely.
Sus AF. Oh no, Jess, I'm so sorry. That's awful. Did he get it from prom or something? Is he okay? Like, symptoms are okay? Not too bad, hopefully. Yeah, let us know how he's doing, please. My sister still no COVID, thank goodness. My dad is in a nursing home having to go to physical therapy to like relearn how to walk and stuff like that. But he is out of the red zone COVID wise, so that's good. That's my fun update there. She's my service dog, but right now she looks like my guard dog. He got it from his girlfriend. Oh, that's awful. It's quadrupled in the last 2 weeks. Like, cases have quadrupled. Yeah, I really need to go and get my booster. I haven't gotten it yet. Just because, like, I haven't left my apartment in a while.
Yeah, like, at the moment, because we don't leave.
Yeah.
Like, the risk of catching COVID is higher just by leaving to go get the vaccine.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have appointments this week, so that ends now. Hey, Rude Ricky, welcome. Well, just keep us updated with how he's doing. How is he feeling right now, like, symptoms-wise? Everything okay? Because from what I've heard, like, it's like a really, really, really bad cold when you get it, generally.
If you're vaccinated.
If you're vaccinated and everything. Oh, good, you're all triple vaxxed. Great. The synagogue hostage situation. Oh, I don't pay attention to the news during the weekend, so I don't actually know what you're talking about. Yeah, I had to decide how to take steps away from following the news as closely as I was, because anyone who is not aware of it, back before COVID, I was taking in 8+ hours of news a day, and then like summing it up for my friends so that they could keep updated. And when COVID hit, that became harder and harder. So now I'm at like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, probably. Which I know still seems like a lot, but not compared to what it used to be. And in order to kind of like negotiate with my mental health to allow me to do it, I like agreed to take the weekends off. Like, that's the negotiation that went down in my brain. Sneezing, stuffy nose, muscle soreness, a lot like a mild flu. Okay, good, a mild flu. My friend Kat and her fellow both tested positive, triple vaxxed. She said she's just super congested and tired. Ugh. Yeah, I finally have my CAT scan scheduled for Wednesday. So I'm going to be actually leaving my apartment for the first time in When's the last time I left the apartment? What show did we see last? Because that's probably the last time.
No, the last time would have been the last time we tried to go get your CAT scan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, so it's been longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I haven't even been entering the Broadway lottos, which is something that I generally do, like, obsessively. But not right now.
Well, my understanding with Omicron is it has specifically the property of not being quite as bad for the unvaxxed as the original ones. So, but I don't know if long COVID is still actually a thing with it. I would guess so, but that is a guess. But yeah, I'm not sure.
If you are coming in late, I didn't mix the sculpt correctly at the end of the last stream, and as a result, I'm having to redo JR's shoes and Franny's hand and mic. So you get to watch that again. Yay! And hopefully this time I got the proportions right. But yeah, so we're gonna be working on that, and then kind of tweaking JR's outfit and stuff as well. Yeah, I don't watch anything. I just get news alerts. If I go on my phone on the internet, I get news, but I tend not to watch news. Kendrick's in his room, door shut, vaporizer on. When he comes out of his room, he wears a mask and stays 6 feet plus away. Other roommate was traveling to get back from California after the holidays, and so every time she comes out, she's wearing a mask and everything, which is, like, a bummer in your house, but, you know, it's also, like, thank you for being so respectful. So, like, honestly, like, thank him for being so considerate. Like, that's a big deal for a teenage boy. Any teenage boy to be that considerate is a big deal. So you did a good job. Definitely. It supposedly doesn't give lung damage the way previous variants do. That's good to know. Rhetoriku, there you are. I saw an at Rhetoriku and I was like, when did I miss that? There we go, just a little bit up. Long COVID comes from having any kind of COVID. Yeah. Well, as y'all know, cannabis helps, so I'm invincible. That's basically what I understand from this week's news.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I'm pretty sure that's specifically how they delivered it. Danny, good news. You smoke a lot of weed, so you are invincible.
Okay, Tommy.
I have to duck out for 30 minutes. Alright, good luck. My dad texted me this week, which is exciting. He did not respond when I texted him back, but, like, still, you know, baby steps. Like, he was coherent enough to have his phone and send a text message, so I'm pretty pumped about that. So yeah, so I still haven't decided what to talk about this upcoming week definitively, so maybe we can discuss that tonight, or today, this afternoon, whatever it is for you at the moment. Want to be inclusive there. One of the subjects that I've been, like, having in the back of my mind to cover soon, well, it's actually two subjects that I would kind of combine into one, but I've mentioned it a bunch of times. There's the shipwrecks that happened, one in the middle of New York City and one in the middle of London, since both of them are cities, you know, with a river in the middle, or two. Let's see. I happened to see it on TYT Discord before I even got the news alert, but my mom's internet sucks, so everything takes forever to read. Well, I'm looking forward to is the wrong phrase, but I'm not sure what the right phrase is, but I anticipate learning more about it. You know, I know that will happen, so I look forward to being able to actually talk about it, but not I'm not allowing myself to break my weekend moratorium. So, oh, I'm gonna get COVID for running out. Oh, where did you run out? But I'm hoping I'll hope I don't get it. I don't get sick very often, but when I do, I get really sick. Ugh, that sucks. Central Park, we covered Central Park 5 on Monday, Jess. That was Monday's topic. I hope it was fascinating. It was not, like I've been very familiar with the case for a while. And I think that just, like, having covered the West Memphis 3, which is such a complex case that it took me weeks to get through it. Like, I think that, like, I just was like, oh, well, you know, I remember Central Park 5 being super complex, so it'll probably be the same thing. But when I went back to it, it turned out that, like, on its own, yes, but compared to West Memphis 3, no. On its own, it's a horrifying, terrible case that, you know, like, I still feel like justice hasn't been totally served. Even if the right person is in prison and the wrong people, or, you know, like, the right people to be free are free, their lives are still destroyed. You know? But, FBI is on the case. I said Texas didn't learn from Waco. Oof. Running out. Oh no! Oh no! Rhetorical! We need you though! Take care of yourself. I'm not sure what the laws are where you are. Are you somewhere where you can, like, get delivery? I miss that about California. Yeah, I noticed that you weren't here for a couple days in last week, but, you know, people are allowed to miss streams, so I don't really expect everyone to be here for every single one, you know? But yeah, like, Central Park 5 case, like, the way that it can finally be concluded is if the city of New York finally apologizes to them. But I don't really see that happening.
Did they get their money?
They got the money, but the thing is, like, so everyone's like, oh wow, they got $40 million. And it's like, yeah, in a lawsuit that took over a decade. So they have all these lawyer fees. They have all these bills that have been piling up. They have, because they couldn't get jobs. Like, and then not only that, but it had to be split 5 ways.
Yeah.
So none of them got a full million. Even though it was a lot of million.
Yeah.
Which I think really sucks. But, like, that's the way the system is.
It should have been 40 million, and here is a apartment, a 4-bedroom apartment in Manhattan you own.
Well, they have families. Oh, you mean like each?
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. There's a lot of empty apartments in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It should have been the money plus lawyer fees.
What they should have done is been like, we're gonna take Donald Trump's little tower, and we're just gonna give that to the 5 of y'all.
Yeah, the guy who wanted you dead. Here's his shit.
Because like, I would never want to live in Trump Tower, like if he owned it. But if I could take it from him, I would, like, proudly display that.
I've heard, like, from almost everyone who's gotten the booster that it made them sick. Like, that seems to be a through line. And that's part of why I haven't gotten it yet, is because I'm like, okay, like, I need to have a day where I can just be sick. You know? And that just hasn't happened yet. But yeah. So hopefully the fact that I can dab again will give me extra protection.
These yours or Barbara's?
Mine. they believe justice would look like. I agree. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that's something like Oprah asked them. And I'm pretty sure all of them just said, like, we just want an apology. Like, someone needs to, like, say, hey, we fucked up. I fucked up. I, like, man, apologize for stealing between 5 and 13 years of their lives. I don't have it in me to tell other people to wear masks, not even in the elevator in your building. Aw, Sorku. I hope I got it already and I'm asymptomatic. Ugh. That sucks. Yeah, I've basically just been, like, unofficial house arrest. Like, I'm going to be leaving the apartment for the first time in over a month.
Month and a half, yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
This week because I finally got my CAT scan scheduled, and then I have an appointment with my surgeon to discuss it. So hopefully by the end of the week, I will be moving forward with actually scheduling surgery, etc. Hooray. But yeah, it's like, I feel like everyone, my instinct is to be like, just tell people to wear masks. Like, why don't you have that in you? Just do it, you know, like, but then I'm like, oh wait, no, like, today, that might get you shot. Like, yeah, don't tell people to wear masks. Like, I'm going against my instinct, and going with my outstinct and saying, don't tell people to wear masks. Sorry, I'm really proud of outstinct.
Back when I lived in Pittsburgh, there was one person in the entire building that refused to wear a mask. And he learned within, like, I think 3 weeks of me moving in to avoid me as much as possible. Because every time he got into the elevator, I would corner him and start screaming at him for not wearing a mask. And so anytime I was riding down the elevator and the door would open on his floor and it would open, he'd see me, he'd just, like, back up and start hitting the other button. I was like, yeah, good. Or you could just wear a fucking mask.
Yeah. The Chicago 7. Ooh, I actually am not, I know about the Chicago 7, but I'm not super familiar with them. But I am kind of wanting to just kind of take a step back for at least a week or two from true crime, just because this isn't true crime. You know, this is history. I've just kind of gotten sidetracked by all the true crime because I enjoy learning about it. But I'm probably gonna go with something more historical than true crimey. And so right now I'm looking at 2 disasters, like I said, shipwrecks that happened in the middle of 2 giant cities. Like, I would say the 2 biggest cities in the Western world. New York City and London?
Yeah, I mean, culturally significant, they're definitely up there.
Yeah.
Rude Rookie, yes, and also no. Because I have a strict policy of not actually actively, like, taking an act to cause harm to anyone unless that is specifically done to prevent further harm from occurring to someone else or myself. So I only act defensively in terms of, like, hurting someone. So I'll never, like, throw a punch because someone is saying something awful. Like, they have to be physically doing something for me to act physically. But in terms of if they are actively doing something that is harmful to people, like not wearing a mask on an elevator, but my act of, like, hitting them or something like that won't stop it. I won't hit them, but I can yell at them, and hopefully that will have the effect of making them stop doing that harmful
I'm
action.
gonna just sum up and say, yes, Rude Ricky, you don't want to be on his bad side.
Nor could you probably get on my bad side. Like, you have to actively be an awful human being to be on my bad side.
Also, if you've ever wondered what it's like when we've got Smeagol mode and not Gollum mode, this is Smeagol mode. There's occasionally a lot more, oh my gosh, you just entered the room and I'm so excited about it. But in general, we just kind of chill. And stare at Brian. How much of it is Brian? How much of it is the fact that he's holding peanut butter? I couldn't say. Yeah. So I have the 2 shipwrecks that I might do, and I might do, like, basically, I'll just cover both all week, or I'll do one day for one and the other for the other day. And then let me just pull up my to-do list. Yeah, it's Smeagol to rest. She's so good. She's so good. Alright. We've got... so the shipwrecks. Eventually I'm gonna go and do the tutors again. Anastasia and Rasputin. Titanic. Cleopatra. The Civil War draft riots. Witch trials. Marie Antoinette. The Tower of London, which might sound boring but is not. Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire. Selena. The attacks on the World Trade Center in 1993 and 2001. Pocahontas. The London Beer Flood and the Boston Molasses Flood. Chernobyl. Aleister Crowley. John Benet Ramsey and Casey Anthony. O.J. Simpson. Jonestown. And then Magdalene laundries and residential schools.
Rudiger just pointed out your phone screen is visible on camera. Not that that's a problem there, but
yeah,
just don't browse porn.
Oh, damn it! That was my plan. Now you've seen that I used my fingerprint to open my phone and my high tech. Thank you, Rudiger. I appreciate it. So, if any of those sounded good to anyone, let me know what sounded good. I can read the list again. Should I read the list again?
Yes. Okay.
I'm going to read the list again. So, like, take note of any that sound interesting to you. So there's the 2 shipwrecks. Eventually I'm going to talk about the tutors again. Anastasia and Rasputin. The Titanic. Cleopatra. The Civil War draft riots, and then I'd probably add something else in there as well so that I can make it like a themed week, but I don't know what the other one would be, but I'd figure it out. Witch trials, Marie Antoinette, Tower of London, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire, Selena, the attacks on the World Trade Center in 1993 and 2001, Pocahontas, the London Beer Flood, and the Boston Molasses Flood.
There's one you can add to that, though. The banana truck crash in Scranton, PA. There was a truck carrying 30,000 pounds of bananas that was going into Scranton, and like the brakes failed and just like smeared through Scranton, basically. A couple people died, so like same thing is there, but it's vaguely similar.
I don't remember that episode of The Office.
That it was not in The Office.
Oh yeah, Rude Ricky, I forgot that. Yeah, she's got an interesting story. One of my professors in college wrote her thesis on Pocahontas. Matoa, I believe, is her actual name. Matoa. There might be another syllable in there, I'm forgetting. But, so while it was like a women's history of the world, like we focused a lot on Pocahontas. So then the other ones are Aleister Crowley, John Benet Ramsey and Casey Anthony, O.J. Simpson, Jonestown, and the Magdalene laundries and residential schools. So 2 shipwrecks. Cool. You've been to the Tower of London. I want to go so bad. Most of those sound great. Draft right, switch trials, jump in the Tower of London all sound good to me. That is a really good one as well. And that's one that I would need to read up on a little bit more. I'm not like unfamiliar with it, but I am not like really, really like knowledgeable on it where I'm like, yeah, I could talk about that for an hour, no problem. But yeah, I might do the shipwrecks next week. I think that might be what we're gonna do next week. If we can come together to waka waka. If we can work together to like come up with a top 3 and then vote on them. I feel like that would be a really cool thing to do on Chaturday in general, is like figure out the next week or 2 topics. Let me know if that sounds like something you would be interested in doing on Chaturdays. Topics sound interesting. I want to like go and revisit all of the places that I was taken to see as a kid and like actually appreciate them as an adult. Like I want to revisit all those museums, all those landmarks.
That's a good point. We can do a poll.
That's what I want to do. I want to come up with like a... Singing in the Rain is one of my favorite movies of all time. Just, excellent choice. Yeah, so what I want to do is come up with a top 3 of the things that I listed, and then we can do a poll from there. So definitely the shipwrecks is going to be a poll option. What are 2 or 3 other ones that sounded particularly interesting? Every Saturday they have a featured movie. Well, they chose wisely this Saturday. I have never shown that movie to someone who did not wind up loving it. Yeah, Pocahontas means like cheerful one, like the one who laughs, something like that, or like Little Mischief Maker. Like it's like her childhood nickname, and that's what we call her. But I'm pretty sure it's Matoa. There might be a Matawaka, something like that. I'm guessing some white settler. No, so Pocahontas was a nickname given to her by her family, so that is an actual native name, not a white people name. If white people gave her the name, it would have been like Pokey Pokey. You've never seen it before? Oh man. Okay, so what part of the movie are you on? Because I have fun facts. But I don't want to spoil things. This might be a tall order, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on what the resistance will look like when we become a more or less one-party autocracy. Oof. That's a tall order.
It's a tall order, and
I think it might be beyond my capabilities. I have no idea what to expect, honestly. Like, I only got into politics like really recently. The thing is that once I decide that I want to know about something, I like dive in and like know it as much as I possibly can. But you know, like with something as big as politics that has so many different nuances and everything, there's always stuff that I don't know. And you know, I just had to get comfortable with being like, I've never heard of this. And being able to say like, I don't know, you know, because like I started paying attention to politics for the first time in 2008, thanks to the anti-gay proposition in California that we've talked about a bunch of times on here. But even then it was mostly like Daily Show and Colbert Report, like that's where I got my news, you know? So it wasn't until 2016 that I actually started paying attention, and like, that's when I discovered like TYT and stuff. In the end where Lena is singing. So, fun fact about the movie. The actress playing Lena, when they're singing the song Would You, and Debbie Reynolds is in the studio singing it, that's actually the voice of the actress who plays Lena. That's her real voice. Like, I think that is so funny. So when you're watching that scene, it's someone having a duet with themselves, I love it. I must find out everything about this topic right now. Thanks, ADHD. Yep, that's me. I was in Germany when Diana died for Oktoberfest. Wow, that must have been crazy being right there.
Didn't she die in Paris? Okay, pretty sure.
Like, as in, like, not in Europe, I consider right there. Because we're in America, far away.
That's interesting. I would have thought, like, Germany and, like, France being... I mean, they're close, but they're not...
I would consider that right there.
I mean, would you consider something happening in Saskatchewan, and we live in New York, right there?
If the person saying that is from Europe, probably. Okay. So, alright, so let's talk about the topic options. So there's the shipwrecks. There's the... I'm giving JR a hoodie, because I feel like JR deserves a hoodie. So the shipwrecks, what were the other ones that people had any interest in?
Oh, I don't recall.
Tell me which ones you found interesting so we can come up with a poll for everyone. Everybody. Start a poll goal.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
I love the part where they were filming the silent movie and he was telling Lena how much he despises her. Yeah, it's great. Or like walking around one studio and they have like 20 different movies filming all next to each other. Because silent movies, you can do that. But yeah, I love that movie so much. There are very few people I would not recommend that movie to.
And those are all people you don't like.
I mean, I don't think I could trust those people, that's for sure.
That's fair. How many options can we add to a poll? I think 5 is our minimum.
So, shipwrecks. I should add Princess Diana to the list as well. I feel like like Princess Diana, Pocahontas, okay? I feel like Princess Diana is something that people want to learn about, right?
Speaking of Princess Diana,
There's a lot of misconceptions about her out there.
that's true. There is a Broadway play that I recently went to
I did not.
that Danny did not go to.
Other roommate and Brian went.
Sorry, it's rhetoric. So,
It's super corny, and I love the corniness.
Sorry, I lost a little bit. There's something about that was just absolutely fucking delightful. But speaking of Princess Diana, there is a musical out right now about Princess Diana.
I think it just closed, didn't it?
Maybe. Let me see here.
Because they pulled what's her face to do Come From Away.
Diana the musical. Yeah, it just closed on December 19th. So I was actually able to go to one of the few showings, because it only showed 33 performances and 16 previews. So, less than 50 performances. But what was fascinating about it is that I don't remember any of it. Like, while I was watching it, I couldn't remember anything about it.
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it.
You go ahead, waste 2 hours of your time, you won't remember it. I swear to God, it's like an amnestic. It's like something it's SCP-055 or 055. If you're an SCP fan, you know what I'm talking about. Like, as I was watching it, I was listening to several of the songs, and like, I could remember the beginning of the song that was currently going on, but I could never remember any other song.
I've seen plenty of shows like that. Most, like, movie musicals are like that. Lots of jukebox musicals are like that. The only thing you remember is like, oh yeah, they sang this song that I like by that artist.
But here's the thing, is like, after the song's over, you can't remember any of it.
Yeah.
And bizarrely, for some reason, there's a narrator for about 5 minutes at the beginning of the second act. No narrator in any other part of the play.
Because that's how Disney princess movies start.
But beginning of the second half, I should say. It was actually the third act. But yeah, it's like, we got through the first half of the entire play, intermission, and then narration. That's very clearly narration. And then I think the character who did the narration is introduced about 5 minutes later. I think that's who they were. It was
the world may never know.
What's that?
The world may never know.
Yeah, it was an utterly bizarre play because, and here's the fascinating thing, I couldn't figure out what was wrong.
Yeah.
As I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't think there's actually anything wrong with this play. It's a perfect storm of like everyone doing their job well and making something that is, it's not bad, it's just not good.
Yeah, like, I remember when I went to go see the Pretty Woman musical with my sister, like, I remember we both enjoyed it. Could not tell you any of the songs.
But I tell you, it is bizarre watching a play and knowing that a song has just finished, and you can't remember anything about it.
Yep. I've been seeing musicals for a while.
Yeah. I had never encountered that before.
Welcome. It's a fun world to exist in. Where are you? That should work. Spice Girls were popular then, and I got my first exposure to German rap. I've watched some YouTube videos on Princess Diana and the conspiracy surrounding her death, and there are some that tie in together that make so much more sense than what actually happened, not what caused her death, but the crash. It's just like,
The thing is, I don't think that there's any actual conspiracy behind Diana's death. I don't think that there was plotting. I don't think that the royal family had her killed. I think it was this really, really awful, tragic thing that happened and that a lot of people saw coming and tried to warn about. But the people who could do anything about it didn't. And as a result, this like devastating thing that upset so many people around the world happened in the middle of the night while most of them were asleep. And so they woke up to this huge news and they needed an explanation. And they needed something to explain how this could have happened because none of what they were hearing made sense. And that's just a natural, that's how humans work. You know? The paparazzi's responsible, but like they were doing it because they were getting money to do it. Like, it wasn't like they were insulated just amongst themselves, you know?
And so, like, you can blame the paparazzi, and they do share some of the blame, but the people buying the photographs from them,
Yep,
equally to blame as the paparazzi.
Yeah.
You can't isolate them. You can't go, well, they weren't taking the pictures, so...
yeah.
And then, if you want to say that, then you say, well, all the people buying the magazines were the reason that they were buying the photos.
Yeah.
So all the people buying magazines about Princess Diana were to blame. And so you can see how this kind of like develops into this whole societal issue of, you know, what causes these sorts of things to happen.
and that's why the debate never dies.
Yeah, because we haven't done a goddamn thing about it.
But yeah, like people need it to be more than the driver was kind of drunk, conditions were really awful, they were scared, they were in a rush, car crashes happen. Like, they were going way too fast through that tunnel.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't really point and blame one person. But you also don't necessarily have to then jump to, obviously, it's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's just a really, really sad thing that happened. That could have been avoided. But
yeah.
Nobody cared enough to make it not happen.
No one with the capacity to do anything cared.
Yeah. Which is unfortunately a very common thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, we're experiencing that right now in the United States with fascism.
Yeah, I was... some of the way you were describing things a moment ago, I was just like, yeah, this just sounds like you're talking about fascism.
And one exception to the forgettable movie musicals is Grease. Oh, I don't think that movie musicals are forgettable. I said jukebox musicals. Jukebox musicals are when you write a play around a specific collection of music. So, like, Mamma Mia is a jukebox musical. Like, what are other big ones?
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Bee Gees by the Beatles. Which was
Across
still,
the Universe. The movie Across the Universe is a jukebox musical.
the idea of the Bee Gees going in, covering an entire Beatles album, and then making a movie about it, without, like, the Beatles being involved in any way, is one of the most bizarre things to come out of, what was that, 70s, 80s? When was that? I'm trying to remember exactly when that was. But I guarantee you there was a lot of freaking cocaine involved.
Yeah. I was very young and asleep, and I woke up, and my dad was like, Princess Diana died, and I was like, oh, she seemed nice. Like, I was too young. Definitely didn't help, but none of the paparazzi was near her until after the crash. Zero reason to chase her down on the freeway at that rate of speed. Agreed. No sane person does it. Yeah, no, I am not making excuses for the paparazzi. They absolutely contributed to her death. They did not single-handedly cause her death, is what I'm saying.
Right,
I
in
heard
the
that the
same
royal
way-
family was leaking a lot of info about her to try to damage her image, keep Charles from looking as bad. I believe that too. Absolutely, I'd believe that. But that's not a conspiracy. Like, that's just a PR thing for the royal family.
In a lot of ways, the actions of the paparazzi regarding Princess Diana's death, those basically kind of worked in a stochastic way. It's not like any one night that they're chasing her is going to directly cause her death.
Yeah.
It's this continual action that will eventually, at some point, have a negative consequence.
Yeah.
It's very much the will no one what's the word? Will no one rid me of this troublesome priest of the modern world of just chasing after someone until something happens. I didn't say I wanted that thing to happen, but I mean, obviously, I knew what the consequences would be.
Yeah, it's not speak.
Yeah, just they should have been charged with involuntary manslaughter. Yes, but the issue that would have happened, and obviously this would be in French court, not a U.S. court, so I don't know the French legal system. I don't really know the U.S. legal system. But you would have had to say this particular person is the reason they crashed, and then like these other people didn't do anything, or did they all do something? And the kind of weird shared blame thing causes some issues in terms of like, can you make it stick? And like the other thing is, at least in the U.S. government, in the U.S. legal system, which again completely different, so maybe it's different there. But at least here, the issue would have been like every one of those trials would have been like, yeah, but my client wasn't the one to do that. It was everyone else doing it, and there's plenty of reasonable doubt in there.
Yeah.
So, were they guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and should they be punished for what they did? Yes.
Allegedly.
Would they have? Yeah, allegedly. Would they have been able to have been? I don't think so.
Okay, so we're adding Princess Diana to the poll. So the things are the shipwrecks, Princess Diana. What was the other thing that someone said? Someone said another topic. Do you remember what?
No, we've been talking about Princess Diana a lot.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm pretty sure most of us are just fucking Americans.
Okay, because it's what happened last week, and it's only fair.
Draft riots, yes. May add that to the thing.
Draft riots. So, okay, so Princess Diana.
Wait, where'd the poll thing go? I had a poll thing. Where'd it go?
Might have timed out? Is that a thing?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So, shipwrecks, Pocahontas, Princess Diana, draft riots, and O.J. Simpson.
Which we kind of talked about the draft riots a little bit before, if you
Did
recall.
we? I talk about it a lot.
Yeah, but not a lot. So. Yeah. Should that have happened? Yes, I concur. I'm not saying we should not have, or that they should not have done something. I'm just describing some of the challenges that prosecutors would have faced.
Like the logic behind not doing so, theoretically.
Right, not saying this is the way it should be, or should they have done something. Just like, I think these are the reasons they chose not to. Not are these good reasons, or are they wrong? Just like, these are the facts of why the decision was made. Okay, so I've got, for the poll at least, shipwrecks, Pocahontas, Princess Diana, draft riots.
O.J. Simpson. Like, if we're adding Diana, it's fair to add O.J. Since the same thing happened last week with him.
I'm not following.
Where we wound up talking about him for a long time during Chaturday.
Yeah. That is a good point, Colin. Hold on. My brain...
Calliope.
Calliope, thank you. My brain knows that the pronunciations it's coming up with are not right, but it still can't come up with the right. I mean, Calliope, it's like, no, that's not right. It's like, I don't know what the right one is.
Yeah. What about Calliope Dragon?
They said the reason I don't buy Gossip Mags is because of, like, Princess Diana and similar things, I'm assuming. That's not the reason that I don't buy them. They just don't appeal to me. But if they did appeal to me, that would be a reason not to buy them anyway for me. But it just doesn't happen to be the reason in my case.
Yeah.
Paige said when she was loaded into the ambulance, she was talking and breathing. EMT worker even said they didn't think she was going to die. She had a small cut on her head. They didn't know anything about the internal bleeding. The hospital wouldn't let the ambulance in either. So she started crashing in the back. I was under the impression she died in the...
No, she was alive for a couple hours.
Ah. Yeah, for some reason, I was under the impression that she had actually died in the... Crash. Or not in the crash, but in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, after the crash, yeah.
Yeah, no, she was alive for a little while. I can't remember exactly how long off the top of my head, but I know that she was alive for a while.
Gotcha.
So, okay. So we're going to post the poll now.
Okay.
Hopefully everyone is ready to vote for the poll.
Do we want to turn on the...
Sure.
This? Okay, how much?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. I wish there was a way to, like, allow additional votes, but limit it to a certain amount so that someone couldn't just, like, drop $100 on it and, like, make the answer. But anyway. Yeah, we're going to... I'm allowing, like, posting or using bits to influence the poll. Ideally, don't use that unless it's, like, a subject that you're like, I really want to talk about that, like, a lot. Like, yeah. Because I don't want people who are watching and, like, just can't afford bits to be, like, drowned out.
Yes. Okay, I think JR has something to do.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna let the poll keep going to get the answers, but one of the ones that didn't get any votes is not the one I would expect to not get any votes.
That is a surprise.
Smeagol is asleep and sad.
She's not sad.
She's sad because she's not fighting with me about something. Isn't that right?
Paige, I'm going to correct that slightly. Camilla was not like, oh, hold on. Camilla was the cost of the relationship between Diana and Charles. Camilla and Charles were in love way before Diana was in the picture, and they refused to let them marry because she was divorced, I think?
Oh, hello, Felicity.
Hello, Felicity. And thank you for the bits. So yeah, so she, like, she's honestly just a victim in it. Like, I know that, like, they didn't, you know, behave ideally, but that doesn't mean that they are evil people responsible for her death, you know? Like, I feel bad for them a little bit. Like, they should have been allowed to marry. You'd think that they would have learned after Wallace Simpson, but no. Yeah, she did a lot of good work while she was alive.
Yeah.
And it's sad to think about how much more good work she could have done if she'd had more time. And also, like, what kind of people would William... what's that? Oh, thank you so much for the bits, Calliope Dragon.
I look issue with the thing on the screen.
We appreciate that very much. But yeah,
Yes.
Diana could have done a lot more work. A lot more good. It's sad. So it looks like there's a dark horse contender that's gonna win. It looks like I didn't see it coming. But yeah, like I think that doing some sort of like voting for next topic would be fun if I don't have like something in mind because of an anniversary or whatever.
Yeah.
You know. Does that sound like something that y'all would be interested in doing somewhat regularly? Is helping pick the next topic?
All right. Pocahontas looks like it is.
All right, we are talking about Pocahontas next week then. Wow. All right. Thank you for helping me decide, everyone.
Yes, it's very accurate, Jess. They should have been happy that Charles wasn't marrying a cousin, but keeping it in family tradition.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be fair, Americans were just confused why, you know, he was marrying, like, something. I'm trying to figure out how to structure the joke. People in Kentucky fuck their sisters.
That he was marrying outside the family?
Yeah.
There you go.
I started that joke without realizing I hadn't written the end.
So, hopefully everyone is interested in learning more about Pocahontas, and as soon as I see what her actual name is, I'm gonna feel really annoyed at myself for forgetting it. I think it's Matawaka? Matawaka. There we go. Hey, that was pretty good. I remembered that much.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Yeah, that was really fucked up what they did to Harry and Meghan, for sure. Like, they shouldn't have done it no matter what, but the fact that, like, they were super fucking racist over, like, these ginger babies is wild to me. Like, you could have kept that secret a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And, like, apparently William was one of the worst ones, which is just disappointing.
Not terribly surprising. Just, you know, because, I mean, we're literally talking about the royal family.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
If there's... I cannot think of a better example of just the establishment.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I've talked on here before about how just racism in general is extremely confusing to me. But like, especially when it's so like those babies are technically black because that's how, you know, like, identity works. But, like...
And it's also how people, in some areas of the world anyway, view blackness.
Yeah. I don't know.
Although not all areas.
Racism is depressing and confusing, is what I'm saying, basically.
You have to remember that, in many ways, the American perception of...
Ooh, Harry... there's gossip about that. Yeah. It is possible, maybe even likely, that Charles isn't her dad. So, he also had that working against him when he decided to dare to marry outside of the pure white class. But yeah, there's a good chance that that's not his dad. But it's been debated for as long as he's been alive, so we will never know for sure. But supposedly that's just like one more reason that they had to hate her or whatever. Because, you know, he was so pristine and perfect.
It always confounds me that...
William, who was painted as the angel, turns out to be the biggest racist prick. I know! It's so sad. I think it's funny considering how they keep calling Harry out of control, but he only acted out after Diana died and not right at all. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a youngest child acting out after the parent that they're close to dies. Like, it's pretty standard, even like expected behavior. You're gonna eat all of my Biscoff cookies and peanut butter, is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the Nazi costume was questionable, but other than that, he seems to be a pretty solid kid.
What?
When he was like 16 or 17 for Halloween one year, he dressed up as a Nazi officer. Like, yeah, not a good choice, but he's a 16, 17-year-old kid who likes to act out against his family, you know? Like, yes, don't do that. But also, I'm not going to condemn you for the rest of your life because you did that.
Especially when there are no other things that he's done that contribute to the idea that that would have been a systemic thing.
Yeah. Like, that was wouldn't it be funny if I did this thing?
Yeah. Without
actually thinking through the consequences, because that's how teenage brains work.
Yeah.
All teenage brains, god damn it. Come back. Don't do that to me.
Hello.
Oh no! Rude Ricky's computer! That's quite rude. But yeah, is voting for topics something that y'all would be interested in doing semi-regularly? Or does that come across as just like, Danny, you're being lazy. This is your job. I don't actually think any of you would think that, but I feel like I should ask. Just in case. Could you fill this up, please? Just water. Diana has red hair in her family. The guy they claim has spoken out and said he didn't have a relationship with Diana until they were 2 years old. They were also told they couldn't cry after her death. Yeah. Hugo Boss designed those uniforms to be very stylish. Yes, he did. Hello, Seven. That's in a trench coat. Lovely to see you. I thought it was just a swastika armband in the photo I saw. There was definitely the armband, but I'm pretty sure that he was also wearing, thank you, a Nazi uniform. I could be wrong.
It's still a Nazi costume regardless. Like,
yeah.
That's the fundamental problem.
Yeah. tabloids with Harry on them, and I'd root for him. And when every royal was in the military, but not really, Harry went out and did the damn thing. Oh yeah, he was hardcore about it. And there's like these really adorable pictures of like the Queen inspecting the troops, and him just like being one of them and trying not, like both of them trying not to laugh. It's adorable. Like, it's like the most humanizing picture I've ever seen of the Queen.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We will definitely do voting for future topics in the future then. Because I sometimes have trouble deciding.
Question from, because I know we've got one or two Brits. And the
Are any of them here right now, though?
viewers. I don't recall.
I don't think any of them are here right now.
But I just wanted to get an idea as to what's the how respectable is the Sun, and like, is that do
I
they
don't
have
think
a
it
political
is.
stance? Because I get the feeling that they are not widely respected.
No.
And the reason I say that is apparently they got a hold of a film from 1933, which showed
where the Queen is doing... Yeah,
The
that was
Bellamy
before
salute.
they knew that Hitler was bad.
and also that was a common salute for people that was not even related to
Yeah.
the Nazis. That was just the Bellamy salute used in the United States.
Yeah, but like that was made into a really, really big deal.
Yeah.
Which is just dumb. People not knowing how history works.
It would also be like saying someone like uncovering the use of the swastika in the 1930s by someone not associated with the Nazis, and then thinking that they're anti-Semites. It's like, yeah, swastikas were in common use in a lot of cultures before that, and they're still in use in some cultures today. But it's just swirled the other direction.
Yeah.
It's kind of only if it's rotated 45 degrees and swirling in a particular direction, you kind of go like, definitely a Nazi. Or if they can't figure out how to draw it, there's multiple attempts because they're clearly having difficulty with it. Definitely a Nazi because they're dumb as hell. So.
Yeah. Anyone also watch the Netflix series The Crown? I did not watch it, but there's a podcast that I've mentioned on here multiple times called You're Wrong About. They did a whole series on Diana that was really, really, really good. And on their Patreon, they did a thing about how Diana was covered in The Crown. And basically what it comes down to is like, they changed a lot of stuff, but they did it to make a more cohesive and flowing storyline while still staying true to what happened without having to be like an exact reenactment of it. And what they came down, like the conclusion was basically like, this is ethical storytelling. Like, this is how you do storytelling. If you can't stay 100% true to exactly what happened 100%, I said 100% twice, so it's 200%, like, this is how you do that.
I think you multiply the percents together, that's 10,000%.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely how that works. I definitely haven't intentionally done the math wrong there.
But yeah, I have not actually watched The Crown now. I'm not great with like really slow paced stuff right now in my life. Like there's a grand total of one podcast that I don't listen to at double speed. Criminal Minds I'm watching at 1.25 speed because any faster than that and it becomes weird and unintelligible. Otherwise, it would be faster than that. Like, yeah, The Crown seems like, I don't think Netflix plays fast enough or speeds up fast enough for that. But one day I'll get around to it. It's mostly just like in the years since it's been out. I just poked myself in a blooper. I have not once been in the mood for like slow and quiet and nuanced. Because that's just not how the world is right now. That sucks, Paige. I guess they had to change some things because of the royals. Yeah, that would make sense. Also, it was awesome when the royal family had to come out formally and deny stuff. Gotta love that.
They technically still haven't denied that they're werewolves.
That is true. I mean, they don't want to be caught in a lie.
Yeah.
That's probably the only reason.
They said you've been on home confinement for 6 years. What do you mean you have no time?
For watching The Crown?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like I can't sit and watch something slow and quiet and nuanced and subtle. Like that's not where my brain is, and it hasn't been there for as long as COVID has been here.
Yeah.
Best thing I saw today was Mandy Patinkin giggling over the sound a fish jug made. I love Mandy Patinkin so much.
Oh, you're talking about the gluggle jugs. Those are really fascinating in how they work. Like, it seems like they're going to be really complicated inside, but they're actually really simple. And yes, Doctor Who reference.
Just like people.
Second season, the originating event that created Torchwood. Like, in universe, the originating event that made the Queen of
England.
Queen of England, which I remember,
Victoria.
made her decide to create Torchwood.
It's because she becomes a vampire. Or a werewolf.
Werewolf. But no, she's not the
Sorry,
werewolf.
JJ's in the chat, so I was automatically like, oh, vampire.
But technically, she doesn't become a werewolf. She's just infected with the werewolf trait, and it's passed down.
That's true.
She herself is never actually a werewolf.
That's true. What am I thinking?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I love Mandy. And I love, so I've been watching Criminal Minds, and he leaves extremely abruptly. Like, he's just gone. And, so I looked up, why? And it turns out that, he was just getting really upset with the, procedural nature of it. Because he was just all the time, there's just women being raped and kids, being killed and everything. And I'm like, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up for, behavioralist analyzing and everything. And so I love that that's, just Mandy Patinkin just being true to himself. When Mandy Patinkin left, yeah, they handled it well. It was just very wait, what? Yeah, I'm not big on procedural shows, but I like true crime and I like the science behind it. I blame the fact that my mom is a retired forensic scientist, and so I kind of just grew up with it as a fact of life.
but I don't really do the procedural stuff. But Criminal Minds kind of feels like slightly different because they focus so much on the psychology and the science and everything, and not so much the like cases. Although it feels like they like switched networks or something, because I'm on season 5 right now, and it's like they're getting gorier and a little bit more procedurally.
Yeah, although they've pretty much limited it, at least as far as I can tell, to just figuring out who it is and like arresting them. Stop. The show's over.
Yeah.
Like, none of the trial aspect.
Oh
is
no,
involved.
yeah. Like there's an episode. Sorry, spoilers for an episode in season 4 of Criminal Minds. Like so there's a group of dudes who are doing, you know, like really, really rough murders, and the police are getting more and more like emotional about it and more emotionally involved and everything. And so they finally find them, and like the guy in charge is like, okay, we have to go now. Like our work here is done. And they're like, what do you mean? Like they haven't, you know, actually caught them yet. And they're like, just like, look at where we are. We are here with like people who are definitely down to do like suicide by cop, and a bunch of cops who are willing to do the honor. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be here and be like remotely party to that, and I can't stop them, so we're leaving.
Yeah.
And so like the episode ends with them walking away and just gunfire in the background.
Yeah.
It was really well done. It was really sad, and it was really a good insight into, like, even though this was 15 years ago, like a really good insight into police mentality still today.
Yeah. Although the one episode we were watching earlier was not at all a decent insight into police mentality. What was the one thing they said? That we both just started cracking up.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
so
it was like
ludicrous.
some like right-wing militia, and
Oh, yeah.
they're like, they're not gonna kill people. That's not their style, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it
and we
was-
just cracked up.
Yeah, it's like the Oath Keepers and like people patrolling the border with guns to stop illegal immigrants from getting in. They really care about law and order, and they would never kill anyone
Yeah,
because
or hurt
law
anyone.
and order and obeying the law is extremely important to them.
Yeah.
We can trust them.
Yeah.
And we both cracked up because the idea of anyone who's even remotely aware of the world today believing that for a moment is absurd.
Yeah.
The actual facts that surround why that's absurd are not funny at all.
No.
But
It's just hearing something so blatantly untrue said so seriously and matter-of-factly in a context that normally is giving facts.
yeah,
Like,
it's like your math professor at college in the middle of doing things just turns around, and of course, as we all know, unicorns don't shit. They only piss, and then go back to the math. And you're like, what the fuck did you just say?
yeah, it was kind of like that. The one with the construction workers, yeah, that one. That was good. Paige, I'm not done with the show! Our kitty is sitting outside Kendrick's bedroom door. Oh, that's so sad, Jess. How long is are they gonna have to be apart? I'm sure he misses the kitty too. But yeah, so I don't know. So I enjoy true crime. I like talking about true crime. I like informing people about true crime. But true crime isn't, I know that it's funny after saying that, but like true crime isn't my thing. You know, like I'm more into history, and true crime is just kind of like a subset of history. And so like, while I'm super happy to talk about cases and everything on here, and I'm definitely going to talk about more, I want to make sure that I'm not just doing case after case after case, because I don't want to get trapped in the rabbit hole that true crime can be. if that makes sense. So there'll definitely be more true crime episodes, or streams, whatever. But I just need to focus on history for a couple weeks. Kendrick doesn't want her to get sick, even though the odds are almost nil. I haven't heard about anything with cats, only dogs. Has there been anything with cats that I just missed?
No, I believe the feline immune system is so drastically different from human ones that, yeah, I don't think it's possible. Let me check.
Dr. Brian is not the case. True crime is recent history. Yeah. And because I get so emotionally invested in my topics, the fact that it is so recent, and the fact that it's often in places that I know extremely well. I grew up in a place that the Golden State Killer prayed in. Some of my mom's old coworkers worked on the Golden State Killer case, so it's a little closer to home than just abstract sometimes. And so while I like doing stuff like Lizzie Borden, or people who had an injustice done to them, but it's been figured out, or it's being figured out, or something like that, I like covering that.
Oh, yes, several bats. They can get coronaviruses in general, but I don't believe that coronavirus, any particular strain of coronavirus is, and I'm trying to verify this right now by looking things up. I don't believe that most strains of coronaviruses can easily jump species. So that's what I meant.
I forgot that the tigers got it. That's right, in the Central Park Zoo.
Several bats. I had a kitten die from FIP, a strain of coronavirus. Yes, there are strains of coronaviruses that cats can get, but it's that's why we have there's simian autoimmune disease or autoimmune virus, as well as human autoimmune virus, which are related, but you can't really get simian, or you can't get SIV from an ape easily, but you can easily get HIV from another human. It has to be a very specific mutation. Viruses jumping species.
You can get syphilis from a llama.
That is true. It's really fucking weird.
Several bats is JJ, by the way.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, zoonotic diseases do happen, and they happen with alarming regularity. But I don't know if SARS-CoV-2 is one of the ones that can easily be transmitted to felines, and I don't know. My instinct, which is very probably wrong, is that it's not one that can be transmitted, but I'm not sure. It's definitely a better safe than sorry thing, but now I'm really curious. Yeah, syphilis from a llama.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus is responsible for syphilis. That's not totally true, but syphilis wasn't really a thing in Western Europe until Christopher Columbus came back from the New Worlds and brought it with him. And basically one of the only places that you can get it, if it's not in humans, is if you fuck a llama. So, yeah. Welcome back, Atomic Elbow. Yeah, just in time for syphilis from a llama. But I don't want Jared to look like he's wearing bell bottoms. Just normal jeans from a normal dude.
How long? That's right. So it could have been from Christopher Columbus's, but it probably wasn't the first one, because I don't think they stayed in America for very long.
I don't don't think so.
Although you let a bunch of European sailors get off of a boat where there are women and
Llamas.
llamas. Although I do believe we know that syphilis was present in this hemisphere before Europeans showed up. So, yeah,
Koalas have chlamydia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky, I'm sorry.
Sharks don't get. I think sharks don't get cancer.
I do not know enough on that to speak with knowledge.
Yeah, let me double check.
Sharks get cancer? Do they get AIDS?
I mean, AIDS is specifically a human disease. Even another animal that got AIDS is derived from or is caused by human HIV, and which is defined as the particular virus, which is there's no way that could infect a shark, and if it did, I can't believe it would have the effect of breaking down their immune system. It's fairly different from ours. But yeah, I do believe sharks don't get cancer.
According to a documentary that I saw called Deep Blue Sea, they also don't get Alzheimer's. But that's just what I saw in that documentary.
I think I've heard that about sharks too. They're like weird creatures without bones. Yeah, they're cartilage. They use cartilage rather than bone, and that is just because I think they broke off from the lineage that we're under early enough, or did they switch that out? Right, but they're mostly cartilage. Right. I need to look that up. That is true, Armac.
That doesn't sound quite right to me. Do you have sources?
Does anyone remember in the movie The Meg what the premise is, why they're down there?
Why? Who's down there? The humans or the fish?
Humans. Like, they're looking... I want to say it's some sort of medical research using sharks.
Probably reasons.
Article by the Smithsonian says the proteins in the shark's blood. Researchers found that tiny antibodies found in the shark's blood may prevent SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, and its variants from entering and protecting and infecting human cells. Interesting.
Keep in mind that while that may prevent that virus from entering and infecting human cells, another thing that does that is submerging those cells in hydrofluoric acid.
Armac, you're very funny. And JJ, I am making a man called J.R. Jackson. He is one of the hosts on TYT. He's actually about to get his own show. This is him, pretty much. That's going to become his dog. That's what I'm going to work on. Probably now. Yeah, why not? Sharks are a more primitive form of fish, and bony fish are more advanced, but they are all still fish.
Yes, they are definitely all fish. There is not a correction per se, but one thing I would want to say about that statement, which is, like, you're absolutely right, but it's more of a perceptual shift thing. I'm trying to remember the name for it. I'm trying to remember how to, like. This is the problem with the way my brain thinks in terms of being able to not think being able to think without words, is I can process ideas without remembering the word, and I can even forget the word. And then I can't communicate ideas very well.
Sharks need to keep swimming so they don't die. Imagine if they had Alzheimer's. Yeah. Part of Deep Blue Sea is that they figure out how to swim backwards, which is something that sharks can't do. So, dun dun dun. Because people in the Meg were stupid and thought living under the sea would be a good idea, they learned a lesson. Oh, okay. Yeah. It wasn't the worst movie that I've seen in my life. I'll say. Sharks do get cancer. Trachea is our only problem. That's how I choose to read that sentence.
Fair.
Your only problem. I don't care what intent was. Trend butt.
Butt spot is just like, I think, repeating everything right now.
Yeah. Making up for last time. What were we talking about?
Don't
Hooray for ADHD. Yes. Okay. I'm making the hoodie again because it didn't work before. This time it's gonna work. Very stubborn.
Thank you, Jess.
So, I'm gonna go back to saying something about the Golden State Killer. So, because I saw some people saying like how old they were when it was happening and everything. So, like, it literally like happened in Orange County, where I am from, but it was before my time. Although he hit like really close to where I lived. But so my mom did not work on the case. I asked her, but a lot of her co-workers did. And one of the very last things that I did in California before I moved was go to the release for Michelle McNamara's book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is an amazing book about her investigation into the Golden State Killer. If you haven't read it, I very much recommend it. And like, she had dedicated like not her life, but pretty damn close to trying to solve this cold case that was decades old, and unfortunately died before it was solved. And the book that she had been writing was finished with the help of a bunch of people who had worked with her, and Patton Oswalt was her husband, and he helped a little too, but not, he says very much like, not nearly as much as people give me credit for. There was the book release, and Patton was there, so I'm a big fan of his. So like that was exciting alone. And I remember like sitting with my friend and we're listening to them talk about how they finished the book without Michelle, etc. And like I just start like looking around the crowd. And if you're not familiar with the Golden State Killer case, basically it's this dude who broke into people's homes, did a bunch of rapes and murders and burglaries, and like just was able to get away every time. And so I believe that this was in the 70s that this incident happened. But there was like an emergency like neighborhood meeting or town meeting or whatever after a couple cases happened, and someone in the crowd stood up and was like, I don't understand how this, like, anyone could let this happen to themselves. Like, clearly, like, these men are just not defending their homes well enough, stuff like that. Like, I would never let this happen to my family. And the very next person to get hit was that guy. And so basically, it's just accepted that the killer was in the room. Like, he was there. And it was confirmed later on that, yes, he was there, and that was probably, I think that was while he was a cop, so he would have been one of the cops in the room. So when this was happening in LA with the book coming out, he hadn't been identified. Well, we didn't know that if he'd been identified or caught yet. And like, they were talking about it, and then they did a little Q&A thing, like audience talk back, and like, I just look over at my friend and I'm like, he could be here. Like, he could be here. And like, it was extremely trippy. Like, that's totally something that he would have done, is go to that thing. And then like, I think like a month later he was caught, 2 months later maybe. And yeah. But yeah, that was just kind of wild to just be like, I could be in a room with a serial killer that we're talking about. But yeah.
Rhetorica, I finally remembered the word that I was looking for about sharks. Basal. They're not primitive. They have more basal traits, and the reason for the distinction is that primitive implies that they have not changed, or that they are like less evolved than we are. When in fact, sharks have evolved just as much as we have. It's just that they have retained more of the traits that they had longer ago, because those traits happen to still work for them in their current evolutionary niche. Basically, like, evolution is always happening regardless. It's a process, so as long as the species is alive, they are evolving, even if that evolving does not include significant change. The reason I bring it up is because, like, there's a lot of hesitation I'm seeing over in the evolutionary biology section of getting away from the idea of primitive, because it implies that they are like less than, when it's very much not the case. But like, there's a lot of situations, understandably, where people who are writing about the science will use the word primitive because it conveys the more important traits of saying it's more similar to the ancestral form, which is kind of the important part, without having to explain all of the extra stuff that may or may not be relevant to the person reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Based taxonomy. But it's obviously, sharks don't really give a shit what we think of them. They're still going to eat us. Hooray!
He was a cop. I laughed at an interview with the police about the Golden State Killer, and if they had a suspect, they said no. The reporter asked if the killer could be a cop, and the person doing the interview laughed as they said no because cops wouldn't do this. Yeah. Definitely not. Your boy is back on his meds. Yeah, good job. Hooray, Raffle Iron. I'm so happy for you. That's very exciting. Ha! Paige, good point. Get wrecked, Raffle Iron. Sorry. But that's very awesome. I'm very happy for you. Just, be honest about the status of the cleanliness of your mind. Oh, good. Thank you for the update, Calliope Dragon. That's good. Can you play the Smeagol Camel or something?
Yeah.
You guys are getting a 100% Smeagol show so far. Miles, you're so good. Oh. Okay. Okay. I'm glad you're being honest with yourself. But alright, so this week we're gonna talk about the religious. It's gonna be. I have a decent amount of freshening up to do on that topic. Are they checking for rocks? Ooh, that's a fun place to store your rocks.
My brain makes screaming noises when I get excited.
It's more of like a whistle and it goes out of his ears.
But
to you, it sounds like screams. To us, it's a whistle.
That's fair. The concerning thing is it sounds like a possum screaming.
I've been meaning to mention that, yeah. Yeah, parade for scans. So yeah, I am getting my CT scan finally on Wednesday, if you weren't here when I mentioned that earlier. And then talking with my surgeon on Friday, so maybe we'll actually get surgery scheduled. Yay! Not guaranteed, who can say, but maybe. I had a few seizures back towards the end of September. Oof. While we aren't sure they were seizures, they could have been pronounced vasovagal responses to
Vasovagal.
Vasovagal. That sounds like a type of bagel.
It's the vagus nerve. It's when your vascular system reduces pressure or increases pressure either on the nerve or because of the nerve.
Gotcha.
I don't recall exactly. I just know that it's related to either the nerve influencing blood pressure or the vascular system influencing nerve or nerve influencing the vascular system. I don't recall which one. I'd have to look it up.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome, Raffle Iron. I'm glad your brain looks normal. That's what's important. It's one of the few times where appearances are what matters. So when you put pressure on the vagus nerve, you can pass out. You can also pass out if you go to Vegas and have a good time.
Yeah, in fact, it's the reason that some people can pass out when they take a shit.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I studied...
Imagine that first time.
Like, waking up and being like, wait, what just happened?
Just like, you have to hope that you didn't fall off the toilet at the wrong time.
Makes you butt. Sometimes with tremors and people mistake it for seizures, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm really happy for you, Rebel Iron. That is very good and I'm sure very relieving news. Because I'm definitely very familiar with how stressful it is waiting for those types of test results. So I'm very happy that you are not having to wait any longer. If you showed up late, I did the wrong combination of the two parts during the last stream. It's something that happens occasionally. So I'm just having to redo that stuff. It was neat to have a productive day again. Isn't that wild when that happens? Like, oh right, doing stuff. I remember this. Yeah. I'm gonna be leaving my apartment for the first time in about a month and a half on Wednesday. So, you know, we're both having good weeks. Yours is much more exciting. Terrible, but it's too. That's it. So if you are just joining, this is Francesca Fiorentini. I very much recommend her. She is wonderful. She's a great comedian and presenter.
That's what the inside of my brain looks like, or sounds like.
Oh, yes. Pulled pork sandwiches. Yum. Does watching Twitch count as being productive? I say yes. And anyone who says differently can fight me.
And then fight me immediately, because, like, yeah.
Yeah. Life's too short to be a judgy bitch. That's my motto.
It's true.
Baby possum. Baby shrinkles. You're so good. You're so good.
If I could have any animal that, like, let's imagine we took an animal that was wild and, like, we're able to instantly modify it in a harmless way, yada yada yada, where it would understand that it needs to go outside to pee and ask to go outside, and poop, obviously, and wouldn't randomly bite people, but would do all the other behavior that a animal in the wild would do. So no harm and no making a mess, but everything else normal. The animal I would want, if I could have that, would be an opossum. Just wake up, possum comes in, just leaves.
I mean, you're kind of describing Smeagol a little bit.
Yeah, but she's cute and I love her. And I would, to be fair, I would also love a possum, but possums are not generally considered cute. Yeah, she is definitely cute. Where's the cardboard for Smeagol? We're hoping she doesn't remember.
Yeah, today,
cardboard
right now
exists.
we're in Gollum mode, or in Smeagol mode still. Like, we're very excited. We're excited about it. The Smeagol has maintained. It's probably because she's feeling mildly service dog mode with me, but
Like, I mean, I'm touching Danny and she's not biting me. That's you have no idea. Oh, the camera isn't on the paint can right now, so I don't know if she'll care. Yes, thank you, Automod. When you get blood work done and you have certain levels either high or low and it's flat, but your doctor tells it isn't anything to be concerned yet, except the fact that levels are off affects major organs and cause failure. My first thought is medical care in the US sucks. I'm screwed. I'm more worried about how I would afford the medical care. So yes, I'm worried. I am going to be worried about it. Yeah. Just like, this is fine. It's not. This will only cause a severe problem later. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Later is a thing that'll happen later.
When will then be now?
Soon. Just a glimmer. Oh, someone redeemed posture check. Calliope Dragon did.
Thank you, Calliope Dragon. Might get to a positive point here. I'm not great at hands.
Oh, there it is.
Is everyone just getting bored with Smeagol mode? And they're like, we need Gollum? Is that what's happening? Is my dog cuddling with me just too boring for you?
Out.
Sorry, this is just taking my concentration right now. Trying to do anything artsy with like hand creating is always a whole thing.
Oh. I was extremely confused because I looked on the screen, I saw the bowl right in front of Smeagol, and I tried to figure out where it was, and I was very confused for a moment. Yeah.
Smeagol, Paige gives you love because you're so good and
Oh, flash your check now.
Oh, I did. I just
Okay.
switched up. Because you're so good and cute, you get all the love. You get so much love. She's like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, this is more play than even Gollum.
Yeah. Yeah, she's in Smeagol mode tonight. Maybe she just senses it's Chaturday, and she's like, "Oh, it's the chill day. All right." But now she's like, "Well, if you're doing it."
Calliope Dragon asked if you made a John doll with purple hair.
I did the Dragon John that sits behind him on the set. I was originally gonna make it with purple hair because I was making it at the same time that the purple hair thing happened. But what I wound up doing instead was making the entire dragon purple. So the dragon is purple as a nod to that time. But it was originally gonna be purple hair. But yeah, so I have done John before with purple. And also, you can't tell just looking at it, but John, the Funko John, is wearing the purple Dragon Squad shirt as well. I got a message from John like the day that he got it, like that evening, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, when I was setting it up on the set, like I noticed that he's wearing the Dragon Squad shirt." And so the next day he was wearing the purple Dragon Squad shirt, and I was like, "Ah!" And he was like, "Yep, did it for that," and it just made my day.
I'm actually like hitting Danny on the leg, and she is not guarding at all. She's really bizarre. Yeah, I'm just touching her, and you're like, yeah, that's fine. Like her not
It's her
caring
day off.
about
It's
this
Martin Luther King weekend.
is actually really bizarre. This is not a thing that she doesn't care about. No worries, rough
A fatal combination, high and autistic.
You trying to lull me into a false sense of security? Is that what this is?
Probably.
Yes, John is a great guy.
Yeah. Like, that's part of why I got into TYT, is it's almost entirely because of John. Like, I started listening to the Damage Report podcast, and I was like, I love this, and I love this dude. Like, he's so nerdy, like, exactly my type of nerdy and goofy, and makes the news, you know, palatable. And so I started watching the clips, and I started listening to the TYT Main Show podcast as well. And then I just started watching the full shows. And now here we are. I am sculpting them.
This is bizarre.
It's her day off.
Even when it's not like Gollum mode, she normally doesn't let me tap you on the leg.
Hi. Maybe my favorite host after Anna. Wednesdays are my favorite main show day. Like, that second hour with John and Anna is everything. So, Armac, if you're still here, know how much I care about you. I missed my favorite hour of the week so that I could catch your amazing live stream. Zero regrets. I'm so glad I did. But it was my favorite hour of the week.
Fourth favorite hour. Nobody.
Of the main show.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, like, your favorite hours should be these hours.
No, yeah, just main show, just main show.
Okay, of TYT.
Yeah. But it's way up there in general as well. Just because, like, I love their dynamic. I love their friendship.
Tom Galvin said, "Oh, you mean when Anna can actually talk?" To be fair, Anna talks over Chank almost as much as he tries to talk over her.
Yeah.
And notice I say that she talks over him more than he tries to talk over her.
I have said multiple times that Anna Kasparian refusing to let men interrupt her is bisexuality.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is right there. Anna Kasparian refusing to let men interrupt her.
Not attraction to her, but that's your sexual.
That's my
Your
sexuality.
sexuality is literally the act of her not letting people interrupt her. Yeah.
That if I had to sum it up, it's that.
Yeah. Not attracted to that. It is that.
Both.
Yes.
Say both. She is very pretty, friendly, and does have a lovely kitchen. Anna? Yeah. I've not seen her kitchen.
I don't want to
I'm sure it's lovely.
I don't want to actually like punch Nanny because number one, I don't want Smeagol to ever think that
Let's see.
I
Okay,
am
do you want me to react? Should we do it that way?
react, but let me not do a thing that she would on her own interpret as an actual threat.
Okay.
Oh.
See? All I gotta do is react. Okay, alright. Do you want to try the extra? Where I say it?
Well, hold on. Let me just pet her a little bit.
Just remind her that she loves me. Remember me and how much you love me.
And I'm going to very, very slowly touch you, and you just go, ow, the second I make contact.
Okay. Alright, everyone. Here we go.
You make experimenting difficult.
All I had to do was flinch once. That's so funny.
You didn't even flinch before she did it.
I know, no,
Oh,
but one
okay.
time. She was snarling at him, and then he got closer and just started licking to show some love.
Wait,
Just to
ready?
be like, yes, I'm snarling at you. I'm snarling
didn't
at you,
even
but I still
move.
love you.
I just had my hip finger still pointed forward at you. She's licking it, stopped, looked at me, and went to bite it. Yeah.
Okay. Got Franny's hand re-sculpted. It is definitely significantly larger than the other hand.
Now she won't lick me anymore.
Aww.
Is that where her little, I feel like a bump on her back. Is that where her,
Probably microchip. Okay. Alright. I'm going to leave the hand alone. Okay. Smeagol's like, I love you, but I don't trust you. Yeah. Ow!
Next time I get to the point where I'm touching you, she hasn't realized it. Just say, don't move.
Yes. Atomic elbow, yes. Yes. I have feelings that I won't share because I don't want to be rude. But yes. Yeah. I think he seems like an amazing dude who I would very much enjoy, like, being at a backyard picnic with and, like, just talking politics. He seems, like, so smart, so informed, everything. I'm just not an aggressive person. And
Yeah.
so because of that, just, like, aggressiveness kind of makes me go, oh, you know?
Yeah. I think he and I would get along great. And we would, like, spend a lot of time just arguing.
Yes, and everyone else would be like, oh god, not again.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like, I think he seems like a fantastic dude. Okay. The act of making this cat into a dog begins. I need better pictures of Sprocket. I gotta look up a picture of Sprocket really fast, so you can watch me look. There you go. Can't see his tail. Look. Aww.
In a few seconds, I'm going to.
He's like a little baby.
In a few seconds, I'm going to touch you on my finger.
Okay.
And after a couple seconds of doing that, just say ow.
Ow! Yeah, I don't think she realizes that you are making contact with me.
Look, she definitely knows now. Just say it.
Agreed, Retorku. Ow! Sorry, I didn't mean to actually flinch.
It's funny, she still didn't even bite down. She
Oh, well, thank you for joining again, Calliope Dragon. Hopefully we see you soon. Okay, so I don't know if Sprocket's tail is long or short. Does anyone know? I'm not seeing any pictures here. Yeah, going back to that picture.
I can tell you what that breed generally is.
He seems like someone needs to give him an anxiety med 20 to 30 minutes before the main show. Yeah, kind of. Well, like, yeah, like I said, like, he's so, like, intelligent and seems like such a good dude. And I really, like, respect him a lot. But I agree when Anna says things about, like, don't call them idiots. Like, that's not going to accomplish anything. Stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of it's his emotional reaction to things, which is entirely reasonable,
yeah,
but not going to functionally accomplish much of anything.
And lately he keeps on saying stuff about, like, if you don't understand this, you should be a plumber. Or something like that. And I don't like that.
First of all, plumbing is fucking difficult.
Yeah, that was my response. I'm like, that's a skilled trade. Like,
yeah,
they're not qualified to do that.
Yeah. Like, don't grab these dipshits who can't tell their ass from a hole in the ground and ask them to be a plumber.
Yeah.
I don't want them anywhere fucking near my plumbing. I don't recognize the breed, but my brain is saying that the tail is similar to Smeagol's, but more fluffy with hair, like...
That's about what I was
on
thinking,
the bottom.
yeah. Plumbing is definitely hard, yeah, for sure. Like, just ask Anna.
Yeah.
Back to...
Yeah, that's fair, Jess. And it's also it's the other thing is it can still be a struggle not to make those negative comparisons against skilled tradesmen, because it's something we all grow up being like told.
Like burger flipping.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you should just go flip burgers. Like, that's still a trade worth like doing and doing well, and we owe the people who do that respect.
Yeah.
It's still a difficult thing to train ourselves to not, even in passing, use that as a reference.
Yeah.
As a negative reference. And we do need to...
But it's something worth the training.
Yeah.
Like, it's worth that time and effort.
Yeah. And, yeah, he absolutely struggles. And, like, we should be more aware of that, the fact that it's a struggle, and try to see our own struggles in that struggle.
Definitely.
Yeah. And for some reason it was...
Which is why I'm not being like, he's a terrible person because of this. Like, no, he seems like a really good dude who has extremely honorable and impressive intentions. Like, I couldn't do half of the stuff that he does. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's more of a criticism than it is, like, a negative trait that you don't like about it.
Yeah, this is constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Does anyone else remember the Mike Myers SNL sketch? This is the part in Sprockets when we dance. Does anyone else know that?
No.
It was this really ridiculous, like, German sketch where it's like this German TV show called Sprockets. And then, like, all of a sudden, randomly music starts playing and Mike Myers goes, "This is the part in Sprockets when we dance!" And they all start dancing. And every time they talk about Sprocket, or they show Sprocket, I just want to yell, "This is the part where we dance!"
Armac apparently does recall that.
Oh yay, I'm not alone. Awesome.
Rude Ricky just shouted, "Touch my monkey."
Okay, so now when Sprocket shows up, I'm not going to be alone, because at least Armac and Rude Ricky
will go there mentally.
The only other criticism I would have for Chang is his tendency to tell everyone that he treats his employees really well. It's like, let your employees say that.
To be fair, though, they do.
They do, but it's like one of those, anytime I hear any boss tell me that they treat their employees well, I immediately don't believe them. Like, it's like...
That's a fair
It's
reaction.
just because it's a boss saying it. It's like, as soon as the boss says, I treat my employees well, you're a liar. I'm just like, it sounds like a lie just because you're a boss. Doesn't matter who it is. It could be my mother, who is really concerned about treating people very well, saying it to me. As soon as if she's a boss at a company and she has employees under her and she says, I treat my employees real well, I'm going to think, you're lying. I actually had my boss say that one time, and this boss was actually a really great boss who treated us all really well. And he said, I treat my employees well, and I was like, that just sounds like a lie. Even though I knew for a fact it wasn't true. And what's interesting is I've only encountered one case where that wasn't that, and that was, I was watching a video from Linus Tech Tips, and one of his employees basically asked him, how would you feel if you found out, or if you found out that, or your employees actually did, found out your employees were planning to, or did start a union? He said, I would feel like a failure that let down my employees. Yeah. I was like, okay, you know, that I believe. Yeah. Like, that is a process, not a statement. And, like, that I really am glad that, like, that's the kind of phrasing, that's the kind of attitude that I like. And part of me, actually, part of it is that I think it's that the way Linus seems to approach it is not as an assumption that he treats his employees well, but that he wants to treat his employees well, and so he makes an effort to do so. And he never makes he doesn't seem to, at least in his public persona, doesn't seem to have the attitude that he does, but that he is trying to do that at all times. And it concerns me when someone says that they do, rather than saying that that is what they try to do.
Yeah. I think, just to go back to the original question really fast about the last word,
yeah.
I think that is partially, mostly because as the, CEO person, he needs to have in his mind, I need to make sure that we're not going too long, even though he's not the stage manager or anything like that. That is still something in his mind. So when he says one final thing, that's his thought. But the way that it can be perceived is, okay, you need to stop talking. I'm going to finish this now. That's how it can come across occasionally. And I know very much that is not how he means it. That's just...
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Especially when it's to Anna. Just because of gender dynamics in general. Mm-hmm. Not because of them.
Yeah. Rhetorically, Linus is definitely one of the few, capitalists. I don't even know that necessarily he's truly a capitalist, because
hey, MK Ultra, welcome.
He's still a worker. He actually works at that job. He's
a lot.
Right, Linus. I was talking about Linus.
Oh, yeah.
Cenk as well, actually.
Yeah.
Cenk works.
Both of them, yeah.
They're workers. They make the decisions as to what happens, whereas a capitalist does not do work. They provide capital, and everyone else does the work. And both Linus and Cenk, probably take, I'm sure, a larger percent of the profits that the company makes, because they founded it, because they were the ones who came up with the
Is Linus
idea.
The kid? Or which one is Linus? Linus is the kid that you watch? The one who's 18?
No, Linus Tech Tips.
I'm
Linus
sure.
Sebastian.
I'm sure I've seen it.
You
Yeah.
have.
Jadzia, I think, is with her mom right now. Because I haven't seen her in a while, and that either is suspicious or she's just cuddling. So 50-50 chance, honestly. Let's see. That's just his way of doing the show. He isn't a stay-on-schedule type. Before they were picked up by YouTube, maybe. The show started 30 minutes or so. Yeah, I definitely get that impression. Like, the whole, like, okay, now that we are on, like, these actual things, like, we have to adhere to this, even if we're not, that's not our style. Like, I totally get the why and everything. I'm just saying, like, the perception can be.
Rough Iron Chef, no, this is Linus Sebastian, the other Linus. There's two famous Linuses. One's Linus Torvald. The other one is Linus Sebastian, who runs Linus Tech Tips. And yeah. I wouldn't say he hates Linux, because he spent an entire month like trying it out and using it. And even recommending...
Thank you, Ruffle Iron.
Thank you.
Get off my stool. I don't know who that is, but I'm glad that they have a subscription now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the gift.
Yeah, he actually recommended Linux in certain cases, and even said, like, Windows is awful for these uses. But for desktop usage and for most users, I have to agree with him. I don't think Linux is ready for most people to use. I mean, you ran into a lot of problems with when we were running Linux as the main desktop.
Partially because of just the extensions that I depend on with Chrome.
Yeah.
That was most of the problem.
Yeah. But that's why we switched this computer back to Linux, or back to Windows. It's because you were running into problems with it. I, for one, usually can't remember which one I'm using because I'm switching between machines all the time. I have, 7, 8, 9 machines in the swarm right now. So, thank you, Rough Iron Chef.
Thank you.
Oh, Rough Iron Chef meant to resubscribe, not gift a sub. Well, thank you anyway.
Wins all around, except maybe to Ruffle Iron's bank account. Stay.
Rhetorica, I wouldn't say that he hates the product, because like he had a lot of good things to say about it as a desktop environment, and like even comparing it to Windows, saying like Windows could learn things from it, and there are things that it should, like, Windows should do better, like Linux does. But he definitely has a huge problem with a large part of the loud community in Linux. But then again, like Anthony on LTT is a huge Linux user, and like is very clearly like Linus is very much a like adored, or seems to like adore Anthony. Like I'm pretty sure he's like one of his favorite employees. And Anthony is a huge Linux user, but I think it's just desktop Linux that Linus does not like, which I completely get.
Oh my gosh, getting high and doing online transactions is fraught with danger. Yes, please be careful. Take a friend with you if you need to.
I am trying to decide which other language to add to my like cycle of languages.
Latin.
I don't want to learn Latin. Latin's boring.
It's actually not.
It's just unspicy Spanish.
But it's really interesting. I think you would really enjoy the like sentence structures and how it works and doesn't work and stuff.
Right, but it's just so standard. It's like it's very similar to English. like you put the subject at the beginning and the verb goes after it. No?
I'm telling you, I think you'll like it.
Greek is cool also. Yeah, definitely. Learn ancient Greek. That would be extremely useful for me, personally.
I was thinking something in, like, some kind of polysynthetic language.
See, Armax says Latin's fun. Peer pressure.
Yes, an indigenous language would be interesting. Like, I don't want to
I
learn...
started Navajo, but, like, they were not going with anything useful at all. It was like, I'll meet you at Shiprock later. Like, and I'm like, I don't have a Shiprock. And I'm not meeting anyone anytime soon.
Yeah, I want to learn some kind of polysynthetic or ablunative language. How words function in Latin is determined by their suffix, not by word order. That is interesting.
I'm telling you, you'll like Latin if you give it a try.
But still, I want to learn a synthetic language.
Alright, it's your baby.
Latin is still, like, in the world of linguistics, Latin and English are fucking next to each other.
Sure.
Like, there are languages that are, and, like, in linguistics, Gaelic and English are fucking right next to each other. Like, I want to learn something that is way off.
Right.
So, I need to, number one, see what's in Duolingo as an option. As options. Russian's still fairly similar. It's still in that general area. Like, I want to learn something that is really far off.
Chinese.
No, Chinese might be interesting, actually.
And useful.
Yeah. I'd be able to understand everything in...
you just have to decide between Mandarin and Cantonese.
Well, it's just for speaking and reading, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Romani would be a really fascinating one to learn. Freak out the Catholics, pretend you are possessed. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to think that already.
Yeah.
Arabic could be really useful. There's a lot of people who speak Arabic. Swahili, I don't know if there is an easy way to learn Swahili, but it's definitely an option. Oh, hey, it's on Duolingo, actually. Let me see how big how much information there is in the, what do you call it? Let's see here. There is less Swahili than I've already learned in Gaelic, so there's not a lot of options in there.
So you'd be fluent.
Atomic Elbow, I am not going to learn shitty French. Farsi would be really interesting. But the main thing I want to look at is highly synthetic languages that don't have, like, separate, that don't isolate morphemes into individual words. Like, that's kind of where I'm thinking would be interesting. Where it's, like, not possible to remove, like, a morpheme from a word to understand that part of it. Like, it's just this blend of concepts that are synthesized into a single word, where you can't pick out the morphemes. Like, that would be really interesting, because it would be a fundamentally different way of thinking.
I don't know if it's being picked up by microphones or anything, but if you do hear it, yes, Smeagol is snoring, and it is super
Not
cute.
anymore.
I know, she woke up because I started talking, but it'll start again, don't
No,
worry.
she woke up when you said her name.
Smeags.
Not sure if, not necessarily a purely symbolic language, but a purely, oligosynthetic, or, which I don't think there are any, actually, but, a polysynthetic language would be ideal. because of just the nature of how polysynthetic languages work. Not working?
Yeah, something might have come off. Yeah, one of them came off.
Ah.
Just being weird.
Baraha, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not like limiting myself to Duolingo, but I do want to make sure there's
That's
enough.
No, there's these.
Okay.
I need to fix up the tens unit.
Give me a second. Fetch.
Yeah. Make sure this is on.
Don't
Yes.
start yet.
Don't start the tens unit?
So hold on.
I'm not sure what you're doing. My sister knows Klingon.
Go ahead. Not sure what I thought. Yes,
What did you do?
just remove the lower camera in case like you need to move something.
Where is your can of vape? That's important. I always lose mine. It's a problem. Okay. There. Alright, on with the show. Some water. SNL is new this week and they ripped on Biden. Good. As they should. He should be given no quarter.
Yes, touch is a love language, one of many. Esperanto is hilarious that it exists, and it is such a...
Honestly, I think that you learning Klingon would make the most sense.
I already understand enough Klingon that I can pick up on things while watching Star Trek without noticing I'm doing it. I don't need to make that worse. Like, I was watching an episode of Next Generation, and there was, like, I think Worf and Alexander were watching a part of a Klingon opera, and for whatever reason, like, I started picking up on certain words in the Klingon opera being sung, if I remember correctly, and, like, understanding the storyline that was going on, and just, like, I realized I was doing it and just turned it off, and I went, nah, absolutely not! I don't need to get... Stovercore does not seem like a place I want to be.
If I mess Sprocket up, I will bring dishonor to all. So.
That'll get you in the Stovercore.
In the what?
It's a Stovercore.
I don't know what that means.
Don't worry about it. Star Trek joke.
Oh.
Yeah, Klingon Valhalla does not sound like fun.
So, okay, in that, like, the Romulans are the Romans,
Yeah.
right? What are the Klingon?
Or
is there, like, or is it like a mix-up, or...
Barbarians.
Okay.
It's basically just barbarians.
See, I grew up surrounded by Star Trek nerds, and yet somehow it just didn't.
Yeah, I don't know how. Chinese is an interesting language. My understanding of it, anyway. What I definitely need to do is do some research into understanding. That Klingons are like the Attila Huns for the Chinese, or
is that what it is? I was kind of thinking it might be
Attila the Hun,
yeah,
or just barbarians invading Rome. I think the Huns is probably a good the Assyrian Huns, yeah. Or the Assyrians or the Huns. I mean, yeah, that it's kind of just the barbaric
most of them
nature.
are played by POC. Oh, I didn't realize that.
A lot of them are. Some of them, very frustratingly, are not. And so there's a bit of a issue with whether or not that's really like blackface, or is it like portraying this alien species, and that and Star Trek, I think, did the right thing by kind of sidestepping it by changing all of their skin tones to like metallic tones in Star Trek Discovery now, of just like, yeah, no, they're not just black anymore. Ha! Like, yeah, that was probably a good call there, because yeah, they almost have like this metallic or this fundamentally non-human skin tones for the most part.
Like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Got it. All you had to do was say, it's just like The Simpsons, and I'd be like, oh, of course. Even though I've only watched like 3 episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Rhetorica said, yeah, actually it tracks Mongolians into ancestor worship, according to my favorite Mongolian rock band.
The Who? I love The Who! Oh, they're so good.
They're more death metal. They're like Mongolian death metal with throat singing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're a rock band, though.
Well, I don't know what they consider rock.
True, that's fair. Yeah, the Ferengi are frustratingly very stereotypically Jewish. But there was at least some awareness at the time when they were making the show, when they first introduced the Ferengi, that might be a problem. And that's why in the first episode they were introduced, they were compared not to Jewish people, but Yankee traders.
Yankee traders?
Yankee traders. Like trading, yeah.
Trading. Like
traders.
Like baseball cards?
Like Yankees who traded things in like the early 1800s.
Oh. Okay.
So like they were very clearly explicitly compared to Americans.
I'm in good company, thank you. Never seen this movie. Yeah, I mean, if you're new, I grew up without TV, so there's a lot of random gaps in my pop culture knowledge, and The Simpsons is one of those things. I've seen random episodes, mostly in Spanish. So, yeah. Big pop culture gap.
Yeah. There are certain traits of the Ferengi which do map onto the stereotypes used against Jewish people, but
those are the ones with the really big ears.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Although now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if part of the issue is that because they just are supposed to represent the problems of greed in humans, and the fact that Jews are often like the stereotypes against Jews are generally just like greedy is kind of like the overarching thing of the stereotype. Is maybe that's why they seem to map so closely onto the stereotypes, is just because the stereotypes for Jews are in many ways
Boring
very
and
one-dimensional.
non-creative.
Yeah. They're very one-dimensional, and the Ferengi are one-dimensional, and that dimension is the same dimension.
Gotcha.
Maybe that's why they map so perfectly. The Grand Nagus in DS9, of course, is very much... I mean, it's Wallace Shawn. You know what I'm talking about?
Shawn?
Wallace Shawn.
Oh, Wallace Shawn. Yeah. What about him?
He plays the Grand Nagus in DS9.
Oh, I didn't know Wallace Shawn was in Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, he's like the...
So wait, so is he in that, like, makeup with the giant ears and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
I could totally picture that.
Yeah, no worries, Rude Ricky. Goodbye, Atomic Elbow.
Sounds like a good night, Rude Ricky. Good night, Atomic Elbow.
Plus, they're unscrupulous liars not to be trusted. Yeah, and again, that's just kind of greedy. That's just mainly an extension of greedy. Yeah, if they were meant to be anti-Semitic, they very much could be far more anti-Semitic. And mind you, I could be wrong about this. I'm gonna have to go back and watch some episodes.
Oh no.
Yeah, oh no, not that. Never that.
Don't force yourself to do something that you're uncomfortable with. Danny, do I know who Ariana Dip was? Oh, that's so familiar. May I have a shred of context, please? Just because I know that name.
I am having trouble seeing this. Oh. But yeah, I think that the Ferengi could have been coded way...
I am Jewish and giving you explicit permission to acknowledge that the Ferengi have conscious and unconscious similarities to depictions of Jews in the Middle Ages.
Oh, absolutely they do. I'm just wondering how... this is more of a, like, how did it happen? How much of it is directly because it's a similarity to the depictions of Jews? How much of it is coming from the stereotypes associated with Jews? And how much of it is coming from that the stereotypes applied to Jews came from the concepts that are from greed? And because the Ferengi were also derived from... Because... Is it because that these stereotypes for Jews are derived from greed? And since Ferengi are derived from greed, did that come from the same place? Or is the Ferengi stereotypes map onto Ferengi's or Jewish stereotypes because that's where they unconsciously drew that? I'm just curious which one it is, or it's probably a mix of the two. And I need to go back and start writing things down more. Yes, Bajorans are very much more like the Jews since they faced a genocide at the hands of the space Nazis. I'm sorry, Cardassians.
Okay, I just had an idea, and I want to see if y'all think it's a good idea or dumb. So I'm letting JR have Sprocket, right? Like, JR's got Sprocket with him? What?
Sorry, yeah, Raw Iron Chef. It's like, because I don't think visually, I always forget about the visual aspects, especially the pointy teeth and bulbous noses of the Ferengi.
Oh, I didn't realize that you hadn't been including that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's at least, that is at a bare minimum unconscious influence. And it's difficult to determine which one it is, but that's absolutely influence. Maybe unconscious, but it is absolutely. And yeah, the episode Duet is a perfect examination of post-war reconciliation suffering. Absolutely.
She's in West Side Story. Oh, okay. I have not watched West Side Story yet, so I don't have an opinion on her yet. But when I do, I'll let you know. There's a lot of movies that have come out that I really need to watch that I have not, just because I've been distracted and not really in a headspace of processing new stuff.
Baron Kraken said
New stuff that I care about. Hey, Baron Kraken, welcome.
said the USS Defiant, aka the USS Cisco's pimp hand. Yeah, that's Captain Benjamin Sisko, the only Federation officer to be shown on screen committing a war crime.
Yes. Of course, I've seen the original West Side Story. Yes. Was she in that one or the new one? Oh wait, was she the she's like got the cameo because she was in the original one? She was the original what's her name? I'm blanking on her name. She sings America. Carmen? Is that who you're talking about? Because I hear she's really good in the new movie.
God damn it, M. Kelcher, you and your goddamn puns.
Was that an intentional pun?
I don't know, but if
I was reading it as like, yeah, no, that's how that works.
I know, but it's such a perfect alignment that yeah, thank you, Raw Iron Chef. Like, because of the way my brain works and the fact that I can't summon visual information to my brain without like literally looking at a thing, I had forgotten what Ferengi looked like. I know that sounds bizarre, but that's just
I hadn't
works.
done that math in my head that you weren't including the visual characteristics. I should have said something. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. Like, it's one of the flaws in my brain is that
it's not a flaw. It's just how your brain works, and it's
limitations.
different than other people. There you go. Okay, limitations works.
In the Pale Moonlight may be one of the best episodes in sci-fi ever made. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I have an idea, and I want to know if it's dumb or I should do it. What was that? Oh. So Anna has the salt dragon, right? The Funko Anna. And I had the thought of adding like a collar and tag and say Charlie on it. So like Charlie's the salt dragon. Is that dumb? Let me know what you think. If you're not familiar and you're here, Charlie is Anna's dog.
Yeah, there are definitely times, Rough Iron Chef, that it does invoke racism for the sake of criticizing the way that people treat Ferengi. There are absolutely times that they draw on that and say, hey, you're taking this idea of us and treating us negatively because of it. As an example, when Nog wants to join Starfleet, he has to overcome a lot of assumptions about him as an individual because he is a Ferengi in order to even get into Starfleet Academy. So like there are, and yeah, the Ferengi scientist episode is really fascinating. That's in Next Generation, though, not in BS9 for clarity, if anyone is confused and not remembering that.
Okay, Charlie is going to be the salt dragon. Cool. I wasn't sure how good of an idea it was, and I needed an outside opinions.
Yeah.
As in outside my brain.
In terms of other possible, or in terms of other episodes that may be the best episode of sci-fi,
Blink.
No. I would say that It's Only a Paper Moon is another incredible episode. Culture said it makes me think of back to the time when Mel Brooks made self-deprecating comedy movies specifically about Jewish culture, Spaceballs, Anxiety, yeah. Quark kind of comes around on female equality when he insists that Negus accepts his mother as an advisor again. Yeah, that's another one. Tapestry. Yes. It's a great episode. There are some moments of unintentional, like, hold on, what is the name of it? Episode? Give me a second here. Prophet and Lace is an awful fucking episode, and I really wish it had never been made. But there is a short 5-second clip in there that, in my personal opinion, makes it 100%, what's the word I'm looking for? Canon that Rom is non-binary. So, I'm just going to say that. Because at one point, Quark is dressed as a woman and has had surgery for some fucking reason in that godforsaken episode. And he's trying to learn how to walk like a woman in order to fool a Ferengi. Like, as I said, the episode is a whole bunch of problems. But then Rom, like, stands up and just like, this is how you walk like a woman. And just like, it says, you have to glide when you walk. And when you sit, you have to sit like this. And everyone is staring at him. And he's like, what? Looks very vulnerable for a moment and very, like, insecure. And his wife walks up to him and just says, I love you. You're complicated, but I love you. It's the only redeemable part of that entire fucking episode. Yes, I can see while I've been talking, we are screaming lines from Darmak and Jalad, or from the episode Darmak at each other.
I'm so glad this is becoming a Star Trek stream. That's what I really hoped when I started it. I was like, what I really want, though, is to talk about Star Trek. Tig Notaro's on it, that's cool. Doug Jones is on it, that's cool.
Yeah. Doug
See,
Jones,
I can contribute to the conversation, too.
Doug Jones is a major character in Discovery. They're actually both on the same series, and they're, on the screen together.
That's exciting for me.
Code of Honor. Jesus Christ. I try to forget that episode exists.
Thank you, MK Ultra. Been hijacked.
Oh my god. This... Like, to give you an idea of, just so you know how fucking awful Star Trek occasionally gets, I don't know why. 4th episode of DS9 was called Code of Honor, which basically has... This is the alien species they visit.
Great. Love it. Already, just at a glance.
Yeah.
I see no problems that can come up whatsoever.
That does not even get anywhere near close to the problems of that episode. And
what problems?
What's that?
What problems?
Oh yeah, sure. It's just, yeah, it is super fucking not great. I used to communicate with my coworker at Ohio State and only to Marion at team meetings. That's fantastic. We can spin off the Trek talk onto another stream. Yeah, I mean...
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like...
Oh, I'm just saying, like, that sounds like a thing I could do.
Yeah, follow a crap guy.
I mean, I can even, like, optionally stream it on yours and, like, put that on the schedule. And
Yeah.
It's like, hey, same group of people.
Honestly, I'd be cool with that, and Barbara could join. That
Yeah.
way they can know other roommate. Okay. I guess that'll be a thing.
Alright, so one time I was at a con, Star Trek fan panel. The presenter asked us what we thought was the worst episode of TNG. I yelled out Code of Honor, and the presenter's like, describe the episode. And I was like, hell no!
That's so funny.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's, Coach just said, I like the one where Kira's kidnapped by the Cardassians and made to believe she was not a Bajoran. Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine, we'll do a Star Trek stream. I can see that that's going to be of interest across the board. Yeah, I'll set that up.
Okay, I'll let Barbara know that she's now a part of this.
I mean, I think we should probably consider asking her before. Okay.
She's been voluntold.
Okay. And based on that, I'll have to figure out the actual dynamics of how to configure that, so to speak.
I bet you would all see Jadzia even more.
Yeah.
Which would be appropriate.
Group watch party of Star Trek V and commentary in the fan dance. Yeah.
Other roommate is actually, I believe, at this moment doing a Star Trek watch party online with her friends. So
yeah,
that's the Saturday night thing.
Yeah. I think what we may set that up for in terms of the stream is maybe just do Tuesday, Thursday.
Ask Barbara.
Yeah.
See what she thinks.
Let's see if she's interested.
Yeah.
And but Tuesday, Thursday, I think may be the best option, just because then it's on a day that you're it won't interfere with your streaming.
Tuesday, Thursday?
Oh,
I mean the 2 days that I stream.
I forgot how numbers work. Okay, transpose problems are an issue. I meant doing Star Trek V. Isn't that where they meet God? Yes, except not God, because what does God want with the starship?
I mean, God was angered by the Tower of Babel. I would imagine she would be angered by his spaceships as well.
No. In Star Trek V, God is like, I need you to give me your starship so I can escape and travel the universe.
Linus Morissette gets weird.
And Kirk goes, excuse me, what does God need with a starship? And this is right after God has actually already illustrated, whoever this is, it's already illustrated that he can just kill with a thought. And the first thing James T. Kirk does is just I don't think you're really God.
Nice. Classic.
Can we watch Voyager's Threshold, where Janeway and Paris become space amphibians? Yeah, that seems like a thing anyone wants to do. It's not a problematic episode, but it's just a bad one. Yeah, where they're trying to figure out how to bring starships to infinite speed so they can travel to anywhere in the universe instantly. Spore drive! And their solution, because they can't figure out how things work, is to ask the guy on the ship that's a cook. They ask the cook on his, actually the cook comes up and is like, hey, are you guys talking about how to break the warp 10 barrier, something no species known to ever exist in all of history has ever been able to do? And you're just trying to go faster, right? And I'm like, yeah, we're just trying to go faster. That's our solution. He's like, okay, well, I'm a cook, but I think I know how to solve your problem. They're like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah, I do. I'm a cook, and I know how to solve problems. Like, okay, what's your problem? Reinforce the engines.
Okay.
Sure thing, buddy. We didn't think of that. Did you do it? No. Do it. Okay, we'll do it. They do it. It works. Why the fuck does that make any sense? Dumb as hell.
I wasn't there. Sorry.
Bad writing. Yes, MK Ultra, that was in Dogma. Justice for Tuvix. Yeah, I am the correct solution for Tuvix. It was very simple. Transporter duplicate, split the duplicate. We're good. Because what's been so fast, MK Ultra?
Earlier tonight, I explained to producer Brian what a soft pilot is, and I feel like he really just took it and ran with it.
It's fair.
If you don't know what a soft pilot is, it's when, like, there's an episode of a TV show where all of a sudden there's a whole other cast of characters that, like, seem to have, like, an established dynamic and, like, all of this other stuff. Hey, Barbara.
So, I found out that a large portion of the people that watch our stream really want to talk about Star Trek at length.
Nice.
So, would you be interested in also doing a stream with everyone, either on camera or off? I can be on camera, you can be off, and swap it out if you want.
Or no cameras.
Or we can do no cameras, yeah.
I probably want to be off camera,
Okay.
but
Everybody, this is other roommate.
hi, everybody.
But, okay,
But yeah, I'll talk Star Trek.
cool.
Alright, y'all. This soft pilot is working.
Yeah.
So soft pilot is when all of a sudden a TV show is kind of like hijacked by this show that doesn't quite exist yet, and what it is the producers kind of testing out to see how people react to the actors and the premise and everything, by just kind of taking over an episode of an established show.
Barbara, everyone says hi. One of them says, hi, other roommate we assume is real.
I'm just really good at ventriloquism.
Hi, everyone.
Baron Craig. First of all, I'm one of the two Star Trek roommates. I honestly don't know. I don't know which one of us, like, knows more about Star Trek.
Yes.
I think you know more details. Like, I don't remember.
That might be true, but I also think you grasp general structure and flow of events a little bit better than I do.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's never happened before where I've met someone that I wasn't certain immediately that I knew more about Star Trek than them. So, why is every Disney princess a damsel in distress?
That is not true. Case in point, Meg.
Sure.
Jadzia's mom is what she will henceforth be known as by me. You're Jadzia's mom.
That works.
How many characters from the Q Collective appear across all of TNG?
Only one.
Star Trek Trivia Stream
wait.
incoming. Yeah.
Only one.
Wait, what's the question?
How many characters from the Q Continuum appear all across just TNG? It's only Q, right?
Just TNG?
Yeah.
There's a challenge that's been issued.
'Cause-
Armac says, I want to play Star
'cause
Trek
Quinn,
Scene It.
Q2, the female Q, no, 2. Amanda.
Oh.
Right, Amanda. Yes.
Yeah.
Forgot about it.
I want to play Star Trek Scene It with both of you so I can win!
M. Culture, female Q is only in Voyager. And so is Q-Sun, only in Voyager. Suicidal Q, only in Voyager. Like, did I misunderstand the question? Is everyone's giving, like, things from Voyager?
Don't worry, they can't see you.
Yeah, the only thing they can see from is that camera and this camera. They're all pointed this way.
They can see me and they can see Smeagol.
I see.
Yeah, it's...
What about Q Kid in Voyager?
Yeah, we're talking about just TNG, right? Are we talking about something? Yeah, it's just TNG.
Yeah.
Oh,
Duh.
Q's son, that's only in Voyager.
Voyager.
Yeah, Q's son's only in Voyager.
Because he wasn't born until Voyager.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Voyager didn't start until after TNG was over. Technically speaking, Riker was part of the Q for the one episode, entirely speaking, Everett never actually left the queue. Because he just, like, Q just gave him the powers, and he said, I'll just never use them, fuck you.
Right.
And so everything that happened from that point on was Riker looking at the situation, deciding, no, I won't fix it.
Didn't he make Wesley older, though?
Just for a second, and then undid it.
Okay, I'm trying to remember how long that was.
Will Wheaton showed up in an episode of Criminal Minds, and I was like, gee, I wonder who did it.
We are not sure that the Traveler isn't Q.
Right.
There are two others who appear on screen during the trial. I don't think any actual other Qs show up on screen during the trial. They're all just figments. No, we don't visit the Q continuum in TNG. That's not till Voyager.
That's Voyager.
And Q only shows up in one episode of DS9. So the only Q power ever used to increase his ability to score with alien babes 100%. Riker, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we've definitely got enough people to obsess about Star Trek at length.
That sounds fun.
So you two figure out a day that works for you.
Yeah.
And I will be chilling in my room like the cool person I am.
You could stand off to, or sit off to the side and just go, no
Heckle.
one cares.
I will just be the heckler. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be the Waldorf and
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler, there we go. Yeah, that's gonna be me. Okay, I accept.
Judge Q, the Judge Q is just Q. Vic Fontaine should stream on Twitch. Yes. She's never seen Star Trek except for the newer movies.
I grew up without TV. So.
And to be fair, if we were
I'm too cool.
And if we wanted to sit down and have you watch all of Star Trek and only watch like 3 episodes a day constantly, I think it would take us around 10 months. So, yeah, it's a bit of a tall order.
Yeah. And, like, I'm happy with the wars. I don't need the Treks.
No, I mean, that's because you want to settle for the shitty version.
Yeah. I love it. It's ridiculous.
Star Trek is far more ridiculous than Star Wars could ever be.
Okay, if Funko Sprocket exists now. That's what I was doing when you were all being nerds. As much as I love Worf, if I were in charge of personnel, I'd hire Beverly instead for almost any job. I mean, right? I literally have no idea what Beverly is.
We can, Baron Kraken, we can definitely just, like, put the screenshot on screen and try to pick apart the audience and try to find the Native Americans in the crowd on the Enterprise. Rhetorica, I don't think Michael Dorn hates Star Trek. I'm not sure he enjoys showing up at, like, cons, but I'm not sure anyone enjoys showing up at cons. Yeah. Both the people, like, who are going to them and the people who are, like, showing up for them. Like, yeah, I don't think anyone enjoys cons.
I miss cons. I used to go to several a year. I remember the year that someone thought up the con Star Trek joke, where you show up at Comic-Con and you go, Con!
Mm-hmm.
That was like 2012?
Fuck Shatner.
I saw, when I went to go see Conan O'Brien's show live, William Shatner had a surprise appearance, and this is gonna tell you when this was. And he came out and sat
on a stool and read Sarah Palin's tweets slowly and poetically. That's fine. Should I tell them about my association with William Shatner?
Yes. Say it. Baron Kraken, no one likes Rick Berman. Not even Rick Berman likes Rick Berman. I can tell you who hates Rick Berman. Fucking, what's her name? The woman who played Jadzia. Fucking hates Rick Berman. Yeah, and Brent Spiner is an absolute fucking comedic genius. Yes, Terry Farrell. Exactly, Armac. But yeah, let's give them all a world or an insight into your world of who William Shatner is.
So for a very long time, and I'm talking up to like high school, there was one thing that I knew William Shatner from, specifically. Like that this was the association that I had when I saw him. I was like, oh, it's the guy from this. How do I unveil my
I would say vaguely describe his role. Like from non-specific to specific.
I will tell you it's from a movie where he plays someone named Stan. And that's only a clue that I'm giving you because it's a quote that I say regularly. And I know I've said it at least once on this stream. I can tell you some of the questions that he asks in the movie.
Yeah.
He asks things like, what's the perfect date? He asks things like, he says things like, don't cry for me, Alabama. He says things like, I don't have a gun. My ancestors were Quakers. Anyway, I know Michael Shatner. William Shatner. What? Where did Michael come from? I know William Shatner first and foremost from Miss Congeniality. That was my main William Shatner association until high school. And I was like, oh, he's in Star Trek? Like, to be fair, he does not look like how he looked in Star Trek anymore. So I knew of, like, Captain Kirk and stuff, obviously, but I didn't know who played him. And I knew what he looked like, but he doesn't look anything like William Shatner. Oh, you haven't seen Miss Congeniality? It's so good. It's legitimately just a good movie. I definitely recommend watching it. It's very funny. Some of the jokes don't hold up, but, you know.
I would also recommend watching it. It's really the only way to experience it. Trying to taste it does not work.
What did I say?
You said you recommend watching it. I agree. You should watch it, not taste it.
Got it. But yeah, it's a very entertaining couple hours of fun movie with Sandra Bullock at her best, in my opinion.
Shatner was the only... Wait, what... Outer Limits, do you mean, the other one. Twilight Zone?
He was in the Twilight Zone. He's in the one where there's something on the wing of the plane, I think.
Yeah, Gremlin.
Yeah.
Other than the OG Star Trek, Shatner's role in Boston League will always be my most memorable role for him. Ritarku, that is Twilight Zone, I believe.
Okay, I don't know why, but the way I had to look up and see Shatner's role in what? Because I heard Shatner's role in Boss Baby. And I didn't even know he was in that movie.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Don't lie.
I haven't.
We watched it on loop like every other night this week.
Shh. Oh, by the way, interesting fact about William Shatner and Star Trek. William Shatner, the reason he always talks like this in between all of his lines.
Smell the fart acting.
What's that?
Smell the fart acting.
Yeah. It's because he kept forgetting his lines. Like, he just didn't give a shit about actually learning his lines well. He didn't, like, practice them ahead of time. He just kind of got through them really, like, close enough, and then he'd, like, remember the rest of the line as he's talking.
Sounds like a fun person to have to work with.
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't that he didn't give a shit about acting. It's that he didn't think acting for Star Trek was worth it.
Lovely.
However, then when Next Generation was created, and he saw Patrick Stewart playing Captain Picard, and he saw this person who gave a shit, and he took this role and prepared for it.
What?
And he, like, Patrick Stewart actively tried to understand and create this character as much, and he took it as seriously. Patrick Stewart took the role as seriously as he did any Shakespearean role.
Like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas Carol.
Exactly. And William Shatner saw that and went, yeah, that's an actor. I'm not an actor. I don't remember exactly what he said, but that was basically his reaction, just like a bit of shame about the way that he looked at acting, and like tried to make a decision about which roles are important enough to give a shit about.
That's probably why he is so good in Miss Congeniality.
I would hope so. Like, I would hope that, like, he looked at that and was like, yeah, I should have taken Star Trek as seriously as Patrick Stewart did, because Patrick Stewart takes all roles seriously. It does not mean he acts serious on set all the time, because oh my god, the stories about Patrick Stewart in the first season of Star Trek Next Generation, like, he went around for almost the entire first season, like, yelling at other actors for not taking things seriously. And then right near the end, when they're filming the episode when Tasha Yar dies, like, he was just like, I'm sick and tired of all of you people never taking this show seriously. Walks up on top of the hill where they had just held a memorial service in the episode for Tasha Yar, and starts singing, "The hills are alive with the sound of music." And I think Brent Spiner said, "Oh my god, we broke him." But yeah, and apparently from that point on, he was the absolute fucking worst about, like, being a character on Star Trek, or being, like, the character in, like, on set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was just prank city. Yeah. Baron Kraken said that scene between Avery Brooks and Patrick Stewart in DS9 pilot is just perfection. They're both chewing the scenery. Absolutely. Like, you can feel the anger coming off Avery Brooks.
Why?
Because Patrick Stewart had been controlled by the Borg and turned into Locutus, and his knowledge and expertise had been used to attack Earth. And Avery Brooks' character, Cisco, had been in that battle as a lieutenant, I believe, on a ship, and his wife had died in that battle because of the assault led by Captain Picard, who had been taken over by the Borg, etc. And so he's looking at someone who effectively killed his wife, but he understands that, like, he didn't have any control of it, but there's still such anger, frustration, and hatred.
Yeah.
Because he's still looking at that thing. They're like that thing, like, he's still looking at the body of the thing that killed his wife.
Yeah.
Even though the body is now inhabited by a different entity.
Yeah.
The original entity that inhabited the body. So just that anger and seething.
Everybody, excellent news. I have a little bit of epoxy left, so JR is holding a bag of candy.
Nice.
I'm going to, and hopefully it will encourage him to have a candy review section in his new show.
right into toe. So that's actually one of the things that I love about Star Trek is how campy it is. That is one of the things that I don't like as much about Discovery, is that it's it actually like gives a shit about being entirely serious about everything has to be perfect on set. And like they stopped doing the like just like we're gonna slap some prosthetics on your head and call you this weird alien name and go film. And also like they worked really hard to get like the best actors they could across the board in Discovery. Yes, Discovery is one of the 4 new series that are on right now. 5? Is Short Trek still going? I'm not sure. There's 4 or 5 new series on right now. Depending on whether or not Short Treks is still going, whether or not you count Short Treks as a whole series.
Just copying Star Wars, right? Oh my gosh, there's all this new Star Wars material. We can't have that. Let's do 4 new Star Wars Trek shows. That's how I imagine it went down.
Yeah, Cisco also punched Q. Like, okay. Out of the 3 captains, I think Cisco may be my favorite simply because when Kirk met what he thought could be God, he questioned him. When Picard met God, he defied him. When Cisco met God, he punched him in the chin.
And thanked him for thoughts.
When I say God, I just mean the Q, because the Q, they're God. They're gods, small g gods. And yeah, Discovery, and then Baron Kraken also said, favorite Star Trek moment is the time O'Brien replicated Scotch-flavored gum for a holodeck baseball game, just because he could. The episode where Cisco thought he was a sci-fi writer in the 1950s, that was intense. Yes. That is, hold on, the name of the episode was just mentioned a little bit ago. So that got pushed onto the bottom of my queue. So Picard also became a god to that one race. Yes, he did. I meant like when each of these captains met someone who was like compared to them. MK or yes, Baron Kraken, Far Beyond the Stars, exactly.
Random question. In the like creationism of Star Trek.
Yep.
Was anyone Mormon?
When you say creationism,
Like just the idea of like different beings being gods and like this planet god, like the idea of
all
like
of them are just like all of the gods that they encounter are actually just aliens that are incredibly powerful. None of them created anything. They are all just evolved natural creatures. But no, I don't think anyone was Mormon.
just because the whole like when you die you get your own planet and you are that planet's god and like that type. I was wondering if that had any sort of influence. But.
No, I don't think so. And also, like, it's very clearly painted that each of those deity characters are not good. Like, none of them are good creatures. They are all bad. Okay. Or at least antagonists.
There are Mormons in the Expanse series. Battlestar Galactica was Mormon inspired. That's interesting.
Yes, in the original series, they did meet the Greek gods. I think they only met Apollo. I don't think they met any other of the Greek gods, but I could be forgetting someone. Battlestar Galactica was Mormon-based, so much so that I think the planet they leave is actually the planet that God like originally came from. Like it's named after it, so there's a lot of references. Battlestar Galactica.
I'm trying to remember the name of the planet.
I know
but
it.
I'm mixing up Scientology and Mormonism.
I know it. Do you want to think about it, or you just want the
Tell
answer?
me.
Kolob.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking, yeah. I know that, but that is not what my brain was giving me.
Kolob versus Cobalt, right? They switched the name, but it was a very clear reference. That's right. Any talk of mortals, meaning gods, always reminds me of the time of the anime Future Diary. The god of space and time holds BRS contest to see who will take his place. Cobalt. Cobalt is god. Were you
Tell
thinking of
them
Xena?
about the ship, like my favorite Star Trek ship. When I asked you, and because I wanted it to be a joke, and it was the not gay couple.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Danny was talking with a friend who is a Star Trek, not other roommate, but another friend who is a Star Trek fan.
I'm surrounded by them.
Because you have excellent taste in friends.
Yeah.
Just not excellent taste in shows for some reason. And TNG, The Survivors, there was a Kevin Uxbridge, the god, that wiped out an entire race for killing his human wife. Yeah, Dowd. His race was the Dowd. She was talking to his friend, and they asked her, "What's your favorite Star Trek ship?"
Like thinking that I'm gonna be like, Enterprise? But we're forgetting that I have roommates. Thank you, MK Ultra. I feel seen.
Yes. So she asked me, it's like, what is your favorite, like, what's a good Star Trek
No,
couple?
I said, okay, you know me. If I was a Star Trek fan,
Yeah.
what would my favorite Star Trek couple be?
Right. And I was like, okay, there's a few different options I can think of, but the context for the question is really going to answer that. Because, like, are we like, who is asking? What's the situation? Is there a particular reference? And then she shows me on there, like, the question was just, what's your favorite Star Trek ship? And after that, I was like, easy, done, absolutely, I know the answer. I do want to know in chat what you think Danny's favorite Star Trek ship, as in, like, shipping a couple in a show. What do you think Danny's favorite ship
And it
would be?
it can be
in all of Star Trek.
It can be canon, non-canon, like just a ship.
And when Brian showed me like videos and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Correct. Like, I don't need to see any of the other ships out there. This is good.
MK Ultra said Data and Spot are my favorite Star Trek couple.
Oh, the
Little
cat
weird.
and
Yeah.
the cat, right? Yeah. See, I know things.
Fucking Armac, O'Brien and Bashir. Understandable. That was not the one I went with because I see them as like best friends who fuck, but they're not like in a relationship.
Ooh, I'm all about that trope too, though.
Yeah. Rhetorical, to be fair, in this particular case, it is canon that one of the characters, like, is actually into the other character, according to the actor who portrayed him, and made that decision and played that character that way.
I mean, you just narrowed it down a lot with gender.
Yeah, fair.
The board cube.
I stopped watching Doctor Who before Matt Smith ended because Stephen Moffat was just driving me crazy, and I hate him as a showrunner, and I didn't like what he was doing with the show, and it started feeling like a chore to watch Doctor Who every week instead of something I looked forward to. So, but I'm excited. Davies is coming back.
Sorry, Armac. Not quite. Riker and O'Brien, but not that Riker. Thomas Riker and O'Brien. Hell yeah. No. Baron Kraken, Guest, Odo, and Quark. MK Ultra is still listing different actual like ships, despite understanding clearly what we meant.
No, MK Ultra is understanding Nick's question.
I know.
Not my response decision. Barbara,
Yes.
who would you guess would be my favorite Star Trek couple?
I think we had this discussion.
I think we did, but I don't know if we concluded. Oh, I think I asked you first, and you couldn't decide, and so I asked Brian, and he decoded it.
I vaguely remember this, yes. Want me to give an answer, or?
Yeah,
we have the chat guessing as to what it would be. Baron Kraken said Thomas Riker and William Riker. That's
That's gross.
I'm not sure if that's incest or masturbation,
That's
but
gross.
I don't understand, and I don't want to understand.
Thomas Riker and William Riker are the same person. They were just duplicated from the same original. So it's literally if someone make a perfect copy of you right there, and then
Do you fight or do you fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and honestly, the answer to William Riker, do you fight or fuck your clone, is gonna be fuck.
Yes.
Data and Yar, Data and that one O from engineering. Picard and Vash. Either way, both Rikers would be into it. Yeah, clearly. Fire Chef said C-3PO and R2-D2. That is probably actually the real answer to Danny's favorite Star Trek ship. Only one of you has actually gotten relatively close by mentioning one of the characters directly.
Oh, I think I
So the other character hasn't even been mentioned.
Correct.
Which
do
one
remember
got
this
mentioned?
discussion.
If I tell you that, they're going to know, because it's only got mentioned once, and the character only has one other obvious option. Two anxieties, Record Troy. Oh god, there should be some kind of pun involving Menage Troy with both Rikers. And like Imzadia Troy with both Rikers. I'm not sure. There's something there. There's a joke there. Culture said he was openly displaying his Horgon for Jamaharon. Yeah, fair. Jordy and Leia Brom hologram. That would not be her favorite. That would be her least favorite, because that's everyone's least favorite.
Does anybody actually ship that?
Oh god, I hope not. Except for obviously Jordy. And actually, technically Q does, because in all our
All good things.
All Good Things, yeah, in All Good Things, the future he creates involves Jordy being married to yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So technically, Q ships Jordy and Leia Brom, which is fucking weird. Perez Troika, Perestroika, Perez, Troy. Yeah, there's something in that pun. I think we're just like throwing puns at the wall to see what sticks. Sure as hell not going to be Kamala Metamorph and Picard either. Yeah, no, it's fucking not. Riker and the alien on the genderless planet, or the female alien on the genderless planet. That
Okay. Yeah.
that I could see,
Yeah.
but that's not it.
Yeah.
I was about to say I feel like you guys don't understand me at all, but okay, at least that one you can see.
No, I mean that the female alien was like, this is a genderless planet where no one has any gender, and one person comes out as basically being trans and being a woman, and Riker supports her and is like, let me like rescue you from that. And the planet's like, no, we're going to do conversion therapy. Is that? Yeah, conversion therapy on you and force you to be genderless again.
I've heard of this episode.
Yeah.
It's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Riker and Laren?
Oh, actually, I do like that ship.
Yeah.
But no,
Not
that's
it.
Danny would.
Beverly Crusher in Science. Cisco and Cassidy Yates. A little boring. Like, not wrong, just like a little blah for being the favorite Star Trek ship.
Of me, I demand sparkles.
Yeah, that's too.
I do sparkles. I really love best friends to in love or enemies to in love. And one of my favorite tropes ever is the sunshine one and the grumpy one. Like, I love that.
Diana Troy in Chocolate.
Yes.
Riker and the hologram was a minuet. No, it's a little. Yeah. No.
This is the audience you can look forward to.
Rom and Lita. Yeah.
Yes.
I could definitely see that.
I could see that.
Yeah, that is a good answer. If I didn't already have the right one, I would say that's correct.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Bashir and Jadzia either. No, it's
Ew.
fucking not.
No.
I don't think I could ship anything with Jadzia.
That's fair. Yeah, like that is just a cat's name to you.
Yep.
Picard and Guinan. That's weird.
No.
It's just like that would be.
Is
weird
there anyone
for
to
Guinan
ship Tig Notaro's character with?
She was actually married previously, and her wife died.
That's sad.
Her wife died, and she spent like the next several months, like saving several people by patching them together with random other parts of dead people and ship parts, and managed to keep many of them actually alive somehow.
Of course she does. She's Tig
Hugh and
Notaro.
Picard, that a little bit, yeah, and we have the winner.
Yeah, MK Ultra got it.
Oh yes.
Bashir and Garrett,
Yeah.
yeah. Other answers given since are the Borg Queen and Picard, Q and Janeway.
Janeway, for me, is just red from Orange is the New Black. I have trouble seeing her as anyone else.
Ruffle Iron Chef said, "Who are Bashir and Garrett? What the shit?"
Same, honestly, in general, bread into toast. I'm not a Star Trek, but, like, I was a part of this conversation originally. So, all these suggestions and everything, whoosh. Okay. Well, so we now have a JR and a Sprocket. So, JR, Sprocket, bag of candy, all Star Trek Converses. And let's check in on Franny here. And Franny has a microphone! It's still drying, but it's there. Cool.
And for anyone who may have only seen Star Trek a few times, or Star Trek DS9 a few times, or once, I guess, is technically an option, and isn't sure who we're talking about, if you have seen these characters, you will recognize them in a moment. So, yeah, we're talking about those two. So, the gay lizard and the bi-curious twink.
That's my favorite trope.
Yeah.
Like, above all those other ones.
The gay spy lizard.
Yep.
The gay lizard spy and the bi-curious twink.
Yep. That's what I live for.
Brento said, I don't know, looks like the one on the right needs to see a doctor who can vet that skin condition. Yeah, that's plain and simple, Taylor. That's Dr. Bi-Curious tweet to you. That's fair.
Well,
movie. That's just from Star Trek DS9, the fourth season. I'd have to go look up exactly what episode it was, but they're on the holodeck, playing spies in a James. The Bi-Curious Twink is playing James Bond, basically. Armand Bashir. What series is that from? Season, I mean? 4 or 5, right? Yeah, he would have gotten a perfect score if he hadn't mistaken a... Barbara?
What?
Bashir would have gotten a perfect score if he hadn't mistaken a what for a what?
Were you like ganglionic fiber for post or something like that?
For post-ganglionic nerve.
Ganglionic.
Yep. So, yeah.
Season 4.
Yeah.
I was right.
So, yeah, this is what you're all going to be looking forward to. Two people that know, the exact shit that y'all are talking about. Brandon Toast said, I've just been here for like 45 minutes and I just noticed the top right camera.
that was so that you could watch me do sculpting stuff. Because I would be here doing this. Whereas normally I'm up here and there's a camera right here, there, pointing at whatever I'm doing. But I prefer to lean back to sculpt. But we are at a good stopping point, and it's almost the roommate's bedtime. So, we're gonna wrap up. Tomorrow we are going to do movie night at 9. And I'm pretty sure I know which movie is gonna be, one about Lizzie Borden. So join the Discord, and she's pretty rad. Agreed, MK Ultra. I'll post in there, and then we're gonna be in the voice channel for that. And then in the Discord, I'll also add a Star Trek channel for you nerds. So let's do. I'm leaving. Oh well, we're actually finishing, Paige. I'm gonna send y'all for a raid. To John Lee's Songery. We haven't raided John Lee in a while.
Yeah.
So we're gonna raid John Lee. And please join the Discord and just keep an eye on there. If you scroll down, there's a whole section just for Blue Lizard Guts stuff, and so that's this. But yeah, so we're gonna raid John Lee music because we haven't done that in a while, and we love him. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope this was good. If you are like me and you don't know anything about Star Trek, I hope it wasn't too painful.
And fortunately, we probably won't be talking about Star Trek on Chaturday or Tuesdays or Thursdays for OK So, just because that's going to be primarily Danny's stuff, and then the other days will be Star Trek. Whenever we figure out those days. So, yep.
And you guys got Smeagol for a full stream. Smeagol in Smeagol mode. Yeah, so cute. So cute. Okay, so rating Jelly Music. Thank you everyone, and hear you tomorrow, and see you Tuesday. Bye.
Like a gaming charity. Oh, what's up, Blue Lizard Guts? So I'm just